The world has always been fascinated by treasures,
We
but
gather
few have captured
in this
human imagination as
sacred
profoundly
space,
as the Ark of the Covenant.
seeking
For centuries, stories have swirled around this mysterious golden chest, said to contain the very presence of God. Some call it a relic, others a weapon, and still others a symbol of ultimate power. Legends whisper of its golden glow, its ability to strike down those who dared touch it, and its almost supernatural capacity to influence the fate of kings and empires. Imagine a chest so holy, so imbued with divine essence, that armies trembled at its approach and rulers risked everything just to possess it. Its history is fragmentary, half hidden between scripture and myth, yet that has only fueled its allure. Jerusalem, the ancient city, once held the Ark within the inner sanctum of Solomon's temple, a place so sacred that only the high priest could enter. But then, one day, it vanished. Not stolen in plain sight, not destroyed by an invading army that historians could definitively trace. It simply disappeared, leaving behind questions that have haunted scholars, explorers, and the faithful for millennia. Was it hidden to protect it from enemies, taken by those who understood its power? Or does it exist even now, concealed in a remote corner of the world, beyond human eyes, waiting silently for discovery? Consider the human obsession it has inspired. Kings waged wars to possess it. Adventurers risked their lives chasing cryptic clues and fragments of truth scattered across continents. Secret societies whispered about it behind closed doors, as if knowing its location was akin to touching the divine itself. Entire generations devoted themselves to finding it, to proving its reality, only to encounter frustration, danger, and sometimes death. And yet, even with every failed attempt, the myth endured, growing stronger with each telling, each retelling adding layers of mystery and possibility. The Ark is more than gold and wood. It is a mirror reflecting human ambition and devotion. Every story about it is intertwined with human desire, faith, greed, courage, and fear, all converging around a single object. Imagine standing in a darkened room, torchlight flickering against ancient stone walls, listening to whispers of a treasure that could determine the rise and fall of nations. That is the power of the Ark's legend. It does not simply exist in history books. It exists in the human psyche, urging us to question what is sacred, what is lost, and what might still be found. Even the earliest accounts hint at its overwhelming influence. Warriors who touched it were said to perish, and those who carried it into battle often emerged victorious, as if the Ark itself chose its moments. Priests treated it with unimaginable reverence, and kings built temples around it, not merely as acts of faith, but out of fear and awe. Every account, every whisper from the past, adds a sense of weight and consequence. This is not a relic to be trifled with. It is a force, a presence that reshapes the human story around it. And yet, despite its central role in biblical narrative and legend, the Ark's trail grows cold almost immediately after its disappearance. For centuries, chroniclers, travelers, and historians have tried to trace it. Some claim it was hidden before the Babylonians sacked Jerusalem. Others insist it was taken to distant lands by secretive hands. Each theory is tantalizing, each clue fragmentary. The human mind struggles with its absence, spinning stories to fill the void, creating a tapestry of myth so rich that separating truth from legend becomes nearly impossible. Perhaps that is the Ark's greatest power. Not the gold or the divine symbols carved into its frame, not even the supposed miracles it wrought, but the way it shapes our imagination, our history, and our very perception of the sacred. It challenges us to wonder, to explore, to push beyond what we see and believe. It reminds us that some mysteries are larger than any one person, that some secrets endure beyond the reach of time, waiting for those who are brave enough, or perhaps foolish enough, to seek them out. As we embark on this journey, we must confront the fact that the Ark is as elusive as it is fascinating. Every clue, every historical account, is a thread in a web that spans continents and centuries. The deeper we go, the more we realize that the search for the Ark is not merely about finding a physical object. It is about confronting human desire, faith, an obsession. It is about stepping into the shadow of history and daring to imagine what has been hidden from view for thousands of years. And so, the question remains, where is the Ark of the Covenant today? Has it been swept away by the tides of time, buried under the rubble of fallen temples, or carried across oceans to lands where it quietly waits, protected by secretive guardians who understand its sacred nature? As we begin this journey, the whispers of a lost treasure grow louder, pulling us forward into a story of faith, power, betrayal, and mystery, an adventure that has spanned millennia, yet is only beginning to reveal its secrets. Long before the Ark vanished into legend, it rested at the heart of one of history's most magnificent achievements, Solomon's Temple. Jerusalem, perched on rugged hills and bathed in golden sunlight, became the stage for a story of ambition, devotion, and divine promise. King Solomon, son of David, was said to possess wisdom unmatched by any ruler before or since. Yet even wisdom alone could not prepare him for the responsibility of housing the Ark, a relic so potent that its very presence transformed the city into a beacon of both awe and fear. Solomon envisioned a sanctuary unlike any the world had ever seen, a temple that would honor the God of Israel while reflecting the grandeur of human ingenuity. Marble walls gleamed under the sun, cedar pillars reached skyward, and intricate carvings told stories of faith, triumph, and destiny. At its center lay the Holy of Holies, a room so sacred that only the high priest could enter, and even then, only on the Day of Atonement. Within that chamber rested the Ark, a chest of gold, carrying the tablets of stone, a symbol of covenant between God and man. Its placement was not mere ritual. It was a statement that the divine and mortal worlds had converged within the walls of this temple. Yet building such a temple was no simple task. Solomon faced rivalries, political pressure, and the constant whisper of enemies. Laborers and artisans from distant lands toiled tirelessly, bringing exotic materials and skills to the project. Every measurement, every ornate detail, was guided by the king's vision and, according to legend, divine inspiration. The temple was not merely a structure. It was a manifestation of human ambition fueled by faith, a bridge between the earthly and the celestial. And at its heart, the Ark pulsed with a power both mysterious and undeniable. Stories tell of the Ark's awe-inspiring presence within the Holy of Holies. When it was brought into the temple, a sense of reverence and fear washed over all who beheld it. Priests fell to their knees, and even Solomon, for all his wisdom, is said to have approached it with a mixture of awe and trembling. Some accounts describe a glow, subtle yet otherworldly, radiating from its golden frame. Others speak of the weight of unseen responsibility, as if the Ark carried not just the laws of man, but the judgment of the divine itself. To possess it was to carry a sacred trust, a burden heavier than any earthly crown. But the Ark's presence was not only spiritual, it was deeply political. In a time when kingdoms rose and fell by force, the Ark was a symbol of legitimacy and divine favor. Its protection could rally armies, unite tribes, and strike fear into adversaries. Leaders understood that controlling the Ark meant more than religious authority. It meant holding a symbol that could shape the destiny of a nation. Solomon, aware of its power, took precautions to ensure it remained secure, hidden within layers of sanctity and guarded by rituals that reinforced both reverence and mystery. Despite this careful planning, human frailty always lingers at the edges of greatness. The grandeur of Solomon's temple could not shield the Ark from envy, ambition, and betrayal. Tales hint at disputes among priests, rivalries within the royal court, and whispers of foreign interest drawn by the lure of divine power. Even within the sacred walls, the Ark became a focal point not just of devotion, but of human desire, a paradox of holiness and temptation. The very object meant to unite a people also held the potential to divide them. Solomon's vision, however, extended beyond the physical. He imagined the Ark as a bridge between heaven and earth, a living testament to faith, wisdom, and divine order. Every ritual, every offering, every prayer conducted within the temple reinforced this connection. Pilgrims from distant lands journeyed to witness the temple, to glimpse the holy power contained within, and to feel, however briefly, the presence of something greater than themselves. And yet, for all its majesty and purpose, this vision also carried the seeds of an uncertain future. For as long as the ark remained in the temple, Jerusalem flourished. The city's influence spread, its wealth and culture grew, and Solomon's reputation as the wisest and most powerful king of his time was solidified. But the very presence of the ark, while a blessing, also painted a target on the city. Enemies watched, armies plotted, and the fragile peace of the kingdom rested precariously on the edge of faith and fortune. In the story of the ark, there is always a tension between the sacred and the temporal, between the divine mandate and human ambition, and between the brilliance of vision and the inevitability of change. As we imagine Solomon walking through the golden halls of his temple, standing before the ark, we sense both triumph and foreboding. He created a monument to faith, yet could not foresee the storms that would one day sweep through Jerusalem, threatening to erase the temple and scatter its treasures. The story of the ark is inseparable from the story of Solomon's vision, a tale of extraordinary ambition, divine wonder, and the fragile human hands tasked with carrying the weight of eternity. And so, as the ark rested within the Holy of Holies, guarded by rituals and the reverence of a devoted people, the first whispers of destiny began to stir. The ark was more than a relic. It was a living symbol of faith, a magnet for human desire, and a mystery whose journey had only begun. What happened to it after Solomon's reign would become a story of power, fear, and disappearance, a story that continues to haunt the corridors of history to this day. The Ark of the Covenant was more than a chest of gold and wood. It was the embodiment of a covenant forged between God and man, a tangible link to the divine. According to the sacred texts, it contained the stone tablets on which the Ten Commandments were inscribed, laws that would shape civilizations, define morality, and guide countless generations. Every detail of the ark, from its dimensions to its golden cherubim, carried meaning, infused with a power that transcended human understanding. It was a vessel of authority, of judgment, and of awe-inspiring mystery. Imagine standing before it in the Holy of Holies, the air thick with incense and reverence. The ark's gold gleamed in the flickering torchlight, the carved angels looming above as if guarding secrets too profound for mortal eyes. Only the high priest could enter this chamber, and even then, only once a year on the Day of Atonement. Each ritual, every whispered prayer, acknowledged the ark not merely as a sacred object but as a living presence. To approach it was to confront divine power itself, a power that demanded respect, obedience, and humility. Legends tell of the ark's power extending beyond spiritual guidance. When carried into battle, it could turn the tide of war. The Israelites believed that the ark was a weapon in itself, capable of smiting enemies, toppling walls, and securing victory. Its mere presence on the battlefield instilled both fear and hope. Soldiers marched with their eyes fixed on the golden chest, praying that divine favor would protect them, while enemies quaked at the thought of confronting what was, to them, a living emblem of wrath. The ark was simultaneously a tool of God, a protector, and an enforcer, a symbol of a power so absolute that to underestimate it was to invite disaster. But power often comes with peril. The ark's legends are filled with warnings and tragic tales. Those who approached it unworthily or violated its sanctity reportedly faced immediate consequences. The scriptures recount instances of priests struck down, warriors felled, and even cities trembling under its mysterious influence. The ark was no mere relic. It was an active participant in human affairs, an agent of both protection and punishment. The line between reverence and fear was razor-thin, and those charged with its care bore a burden few could truly comprehend. The craftsmanship itself reveals a profound understanding of symbolism and sacred geometry. Gold overlaying acacia wood, meticulously crafted cherubim facing one another, carrying rods to facilitate transport. Every feature had meaning, every detail was deliberate. The ark was designed to be both mobile and immovable, accessible yet untouchable, a paradox that reflected the delicate balance between the divine and human realms. Its very design reinforced the message. This was not an object to possess lightly, but a covenant demanding obedience, faith, and respect. Yet for all its majesty and divine purpose, the Ark was deeply human in the way it inspired both devotion and desire. Kings, priests, and warriors all understood its power, and each interpreted it through the lens of ambition and necessity. To hold it was to command authority, to influence destiny, to stand as a mediator between the mortal and the divine. And that understanding, as history would show, made it a target, a treasure to covet, a symbol worth fighting for and hiding. Even the rituals surrounding the Ark were laden with drama. Priests had to purify themselves, priests had to speak only in whispers, steps had to be measured, prayers recited in precise sequence. Every breach of protocol could provoke divine wrath. The Ark demanded discipline, obedience, and unyielding reverence. In its presence, humanity's limits were exposed, and even the wisest and bravest were reminded of their place in the cosmos. It was a silent yet powerful teacher, shaping behavior, morality, and social order. The Ark's influence was not confined to Israel. Tales spread across lands and generations. Traders, travelers, and emissaries carried stories of a chest of unimaginable sanctity, a relic that held the divine will within its golden frame. These stories fueled curiosity, jealousy, and ambition far beyond the borders of the Holy Land. Even in distant kingdoms, rulers dreamed of the power it represented. The Ark became a symbol, a myth, and a prize, transcending time and geography. But despite all its significance, the Ark's fate remained uncertain. As kingdoms rose and fell, the Ark's physical presence became vulnerable. Its disappearance would leave behind a vacuum of mystery, a silence that centuries of speculation could never entirely fill. This sacred chest, once the center of devotion and power, became the ultimate enigma, an object that existed in the collective imagination as much as in history, its legend growing with each retelling. And so, the Ark of the Covenant, crafted with divine purpose, imbued with power, and steeped in sacred lore, stands at the crossroads of history and myth. It was a covenant of fire and stone, a reminder that the divine and mortal worlds are intertwined, and that objects of immense power carry consequences that can echo across time. Its story is not merely about gold or wood, but about faith, ambition, fear, and the human desire to touch the divine. As we trace the Ark's journey from Solomon's temple onward, the tension between reverence and obsession will intensify. Every movement, every secretive transfer, every whispered legend adds layers to its mystery. The Ark is more than a relic. It is a living story, a force that shapes human history, and a testament to the delicate balance between divine power and human desire. The question lingers, what became of this covenant of fire and stone when the world that built it began to crumble? Even in the golden age of Solomon, whispers of warning traveled through the corridors of power. Prophets, those enigmatic voices of divine foresight, spoke of consequences far beyond human reckoning. They foresaw that the Ark, while a source of unmatched sacred power, could not remain immune to human folly. Their words, sometimes cryptic, sometimes piercingly clear, carried an unsettling tension. The very object meant to unite and protect Israel might one day trigger its undoing. Prophets like Jeremiah and Isaiah warned that the kingdom's fortunes were fragile, dependent on obedience not merely to laws, but to the deeper moral covenant symbolized by the Ark. These men spoke not just of political collapse but of spiritual disintegration, foreseeing a time when pride, corruption, and ambition would eclipse wisdom. The Ark, they implied, was not a talisman to guarantee earthly victories. It was a mirror reflecting the virtue and vice of those who held it. Its protection was conditional, its power tied to human fidelity. Stories recount that prophets would sometimes appear in public, confronting kings with harsh truths. They spoke of divine judgment lurking behind apparent prosperity, of empires that gleamed in the sun yet teetered on the edge of ruin. Their words were often met with disbelief or anger, for few rulers relished being reminded of their own fragility. And yet, beneath the frustration, there lingered a profound truth. The Ark, no matter how majestic or feared, was only as potent as the integrity of the people and leaders surrounding it. The tension between divine promise and human error was palpable. Imagine the high priest lifting the veil, revealing the golden chest within the Holy of Holies, while prophets murmured in the shadows that this treasure could provoke not salvation, but catastrophe. Every ritual, every moment of worship, was imbued with both awe and dread. The ark's very presence demanded not just faith, but vigilance, humility, and ethical conduct. One misstep, one act of hubris, and the consequences could be devastating. Prophetic warnings were often cloaked in symbolic language, visions of fire consuming the unworthy, of cities collapsing, or of rivers turning to blood. To modern readers, these may seem like allegory, but for contemporaries, they were dire predictions. The ark's fate was inextricably tied to moral and spiritual conduct. It was a test as much as a treasure. The human heart, capable of devotion and corruption alike, was under scrutiny, and the ark stood silently, both observer and judge. Even more striking were the subtle portents that prophets left embedded in history. Small events, unexplained disasters, sudden defeats, internal betrayals, were often interpreted as signs of divine displeasure connected to the ark. These were not mere coincidences. They were reminders that the sacred and temporal worlds were intertwined. Kings could build temples and wield armies, but they could not bend the rules of divine covenant. The ark symbolized the ultimate accountability. Every decision, every act of leadership, every moral lapse could ripple outward, shaping the destiny of a nation. The human struggle with obedience and temptation forms a recurring theme in these narratives. Israelite leaders, despite their wisdom or power, were often tested. Some succumbed to pride, believing that the ark's power could be harnessed like a weapon of man. Others approached it with fear and reverence, understanding that its presence was not a guarantee of success, but a call to ethical stewardship. The prophet's messages were unyielding. The ark's power was not a prize to claim, but a covenant to honor. These warnings gain even greater significance when we consider the ark's eventual disappearance. Was its vanishing an act of divine retribution, a response to moral failure, or was it the result of human machinations, hiding the ark to protect it from those who had lost their way? Prophetic portents suggest both. They hint that the ark's journey would not be passive. It would continue to exert influence, unseen yet formidable, shaping events far beyond the walls of Jerusalem. Prophets also served as moral guides for the people, emphasizing that the ark's significance extended beyond the rulers who controlled it. Its story was intertwined with collective responsibility. A nation's behavior, its compassion, justice, and faithfulness all affected the ark's favor. The chest was more than a relic. It was a living ethical barometer, reflecting the spiritual health of the society that revered it. The tension of prophecy created a complex emotional landscape around the ark. For the faithful, it was a source of awe, hope, and divine guidance. For skeptics or the ambitious, it was a symbol of fear, a target for manipulation, or a prize worth risking everything to claim. Across centuries, this duality would define human interaction with the ark, a push and pull between reverence and ambition, between faith and desire. As Jerusalem thrived under Solomon's rule, the prophet's warnings cast a shadow over the city's golden streets. The ark, resting within the Holy of Holies, remained both a blessing and a silent judge. Every step, every decision, every act of governance was under the watchful gaze of divine expectation. And yet, the inevitability of human error loomed. The stage was set for trials that would shake the kingdom to its core, testing loyalty, faith, and the very essence of human morality. In the end, the prophets remind us that the ark story is not simply one of gold, stone, or divine presence. It is a story of human choice, consequence, and the fragile balance between devotion and destruction. As we follow the ark through history, we see the interplay of faith, power, and human ambition, a tension that shapes not only its journey but the destiny of those who seek to hold it. The question remains, when the storm of conquest and ambition arrived, would the ark survive, or would it vanish into the shadows, leaving only whispers and warnings behind? The prosperity of Solomon's Jerusalem, radiant with faith and wealth, could not withstand the approaching tempest. Centuries after the Ark was enshrined within the Holy of Holies, the city faced a force that would test its very foundations, the Babylonian Empire. Known for their military genius and ruthless efficiency, the Babylonians under King Nebuchadnezzar approached with an unstoppable momentum. Their army swept through the Levant, leaving destruction in their wake, and Jerusalem, once a shining beacon of faith, braced for a confrontation that would alter the course of history. The Ark, the crown jewel of the city's spiritual and political might, became the focal point of fear and hope alike. Its presence could rally defenders, yet it could also draw disaster if mishandled. Priests and leaders debated in hushed tones. Should it be carried into battle, as tradition sometimes demanded, or hidden away to preserve its sanctity? The city teetered between desperation and duty. Every decision carried stakes far beyond the mortal. For the Ark was not merely a treasure, it was a covenant, a divine presence whose fate could shift the destiny of a nation. As the Babylonians laid siege, the streets of Jerusalem became a tableau of tension and dread. Citizens huddled behind walls, listening to the distant roar of marching armies. Children clung to their mothers, elders whispered prayers, and priests performed rituals with trembling hands. The Ark's golden surface, hidden behind sacred veils, remained a symbol of hope, a divine promise that God's favor might yet protect the city. Yet the prophet's warnings, spoken centuries earlier, echoed ominously. No power on earth could guarantee immunity from divine judgment or human folly. Accounts described the siege with harrowing clarity. Famine, fire, and fear gnawed at the city. Babylonian battering rams tore at the gates, while flames licked the wooden structures, sending plumes of smoke into the heavens. The Ark's fate hung in the balance, a silent witness to human desperation and divine scrutiny. Who would have the courage, or perhaps the recklessness, to safeguard it amidst chaos? Every priest, every soldier, every leader understood that history would judge their actions, yet survival demanded choices that tested faith and morality alike. Some theories suggest that the Ark may have been hidden before the Babylonians breached the city, secreted away in subterranean chambers, caves, or remote sanctuaries. The exact method remains unknown, but the urgency of such an act is undeniable. Priests who had dedicated their lives to its care may have risked everything to save it, knowing that its capture would not only represent spiritual catastrophe, but a profound political loss. The idea that the Ark could vanish into the shadows during a siege sets the stage for centuries of speculation and myth. For once lost, it became both sacred treasure and eternal enigma. As the Babylonians stormed through Jerusalem, plundering its riches and burning its holy spaces, the Ark's absence, or its protection, became a source of tension and mystery. Did the invaders seize it and fail to recognize its significance? Or had it been concealed so effectively that even the mightiest army could not find it? The narrative fragments suggest a city in collapse, its people terrified, its spiritual center potentially lost, and a relic that had once embodied divine presence now suspended between myth and reality. The tension between human ambition and divine authority reaches its apex in these moments, a civilization trembling as history itself seems to hold its breath. The psychological and emotional impact of the siege cannot be overstated. For the people of Jerusalem, the Ark was not a passive object. It was a companion in their faith, a protector in battle, and a symbol of hope. Its potential loss struck at the very core of identity and belief. Imagine the disbelief as temple doors fell, sacred spaces were desecrated, and the future seemed irretrievably uncertain. Those who had once sung hymns of praise now whispered prayers for survival, for mercy, and for the protection of a relic that represented not just religious devotion, but the essence of a civilization. The Babylonians' success was total. Jerusalem fell, its citizens exiled, its treasures looted. The Ark's fate, however, remained an enigma. Some accounts hint at its removal before the city's fall. Others suggest that it was hidden or spirited away by those who understood that no mortal power could preserve it in plain sight. The Ark, in these theories, becomes a ghostly presence, a treasure whose very existence challenges the finality of conquest. Even in defeat, it asserts influence, reminding us that human ambition and divine authority are rarely straightforward, and that history often leaves tantalizing gaps where myth and truth intertwine. The fall of Jerusalem to Babylon marked the end of an era, yet it also gave birth to one of history's greatest mysteries. Scholars, historians, and explorers have long debated what happened to the Ark during that catastrophic night. Was it destroyed, taken, or hidden? Each possibility carries profound implications. Destruction implies the end of divine presence in a tangible form. Seizure suggests human greed attempting to harness the divine. Concealment implies a deliberate act of preservation, waiting for a future moment of revelation. The ambiguity itself fuels the enduring fascination with the Ark. And so, the Babylonian storm becomes a crucible in the Ark's story, a convergence of divine symbolism, human ambition, and historical upheaval. It is a turning point, a moment when the tangible and intangible collide, leaving behind a mystery that will echo across millennia. The Ark, whether present or absent, transforms the narrative, shaping legends, inspiring devotion, and provoking curiosity. Its story is now inseparable from the trials of Jerusalem, the ambitions of kings, and the whispers of prophets, creating a legacy that will captivate generations of seekers. As we move beyond the ruins of Jerusalem and trace the Ark's path into obscurity, we carry forward the tension and uncertainty that the Babylonian conquest introduced. The chest that once radiated divine presence now drifts into the shadows of history, a treasure whose fate will challenge human understanding and inspire myth for centuries to come. The Ark's journey is only beginning, and the storm that engulfed Jerusalem becomes the first of many trials in its long and mysterious odyssey. After the fall of Jerusalem, the Ark of the Covenant vanished from the pages of history, leaving behind only whispers and fragmented accounts. Scholars and prophets alike pondered its fate, while for the people it became a ghost of memory, a symbol of divine presence lost to the harshness of human misfortune. Yet even in disappearance, the Ark seemed to resonate, leaving echoes that stretched far beyond the boundaries of a conquered city. Its trail, though obscured, beckoned seekers to deserts, mountains, and distant lands where legend and reality blurred. The desert itself became both witness and protector. Vast stretches of sand, jagged cliffs, and hidden valleys offered concealment for a treasure that could not survive in plain sight. Stories suggest that priests, desperate to safeguard the Ark from looters and invaders, may have carried it across harsh terrains, guided by faith, intuition, and secret knowledge passed down through generations. The image of a golden chest glinting under a scorching sun, shielded by devoted guardians willing to endure hunger, thirst, and danger, evokes both awe and suspense. It is a scene at once human and mythic, blending devotion with survival instinct. Travelers and chroniclers over the centuries reported tantalizing hints of the Ark's journey. Ancient texts, fragmented scrolls, and oral traditions recount sightings or transports across deserts that defy precise mapping. Some suggest that it traveled eastward, carried into regions bordering the Red Sea and beyond, its presence shaping the cultures and faiths it touched. The Ark was no longer confined to Jerusalem. It had become a moving symbol of divine authority, capable of inspiring devotion, fear, and wonder wherever it appeared. The desert, harsh and unforgiving, seems almost to conspire in its concealment. Sandstorms, treacherous terrain, and uncharted valleys would thwart all but the most determined seekers. Yet these same barriers provided the Ark with protection. Those who pursued it often returned empty-handed, while legends grew in their absence. Each tale of failure added mystique, and every account of near discovery heightened curiosity. The Ark's journey through deserts and hidden lands transformed it from a mere relic into a living enigma, a force that shaped human imagination as profoundly as it had once influenced armies and kings. There are hints that the Ark's custodians were not merely reactive, but strategic in their concealment. Oral traditions speak of secret paths, hidden chambers, and coded instructions passed from one generation to the next. Each layer of secrecy was intended to outwit both invaders and the curious. In this way, the Ark became more than a sacred object. It became a puzzle, a challenge that intertwined faith, intelligence, and perseverance. Those who sought it needed not only courage, but wisdom, intuition, and an understanding that the pursuit was as spiritual as it was physical. The desert's echoes also carry an emotional resonance. Imagine a priest walking for days under the blazing sun, the ark concealed under cloths and sacred coverings, every step a testament to devotion and faith. Every gust of wind, every shifting dune, becomes part of a narrative in which human endurance and divine purpose collide. The ark's journey across these inhospitable landscapes symbolizes the tenuous link between mortal effort and sacred trust, a reminder that the most powerful treasures are rarely easy to protect or understand. Even the faintest historical traces hint at the ark's influence during this period. Some speculate that it inspired the foundation of remote sanctuaries, guided migrations, or even shaped local customs and beliefs. It may have sparked legends among desert tribes, stories of a golden chest with miraculous power appearing in the most unlikely places. The ark, though hidden, continued to exert influence, becoming a force felt as much spiritually as materially. By tracing the ark's path across deserts, we confront the interplay between human ambition and divine mystery. The desert acts as both adversary and protector, a stage where courage, faith, and secrecy define the fate of a sacred object. Each footprint, each whisper, each fragment of tradition adds layers to a story that resists certainty, blending history with myth, reality with imagination. The ark's journey is no longer a static tale of treasure and temple. It becomes a dynamic odyssey across landscapes, cultures, and centuries. The mysteries of these desert journeys remind us of the ark's dual nature. It is at once a physical object of remarkable craftsmanship and a symbol of moral and spiritual power. Its influence extends beyond geography into the hearts and minds of those who revere it. As generations pass, the desert becomes more than a landscape. It becomes a character in the ark's story, shaping the narrative, testing devotion, and guarding secrets. The echoes of its presence reverberate long after footsteps fade, hinting at the sacred, the dangerous, and the unknown. In the end, the desert is a mirror of the ark's journey itself, vast, enigmatic, and filled with hidden paths. It shelters, challenges, and amplifies the mystery of a relic whose story has survived centuries precisely because it is not easily grasped. Every dune, every hidden valley, every whispered legend is a testament to the ark's enduring presence, a reminder that some treasures exist not just in material form but in the human imagination, faith, and the relentless pursuit of what lies beyond reach. As we leave the deserts behind, we step into a new chapter of the ark's journey, one that crosses continents, cultures, and centuries, leading to the unexpected and mysterious lands of Ethiopia. The echoes in the desert prepare us for a tale that is not only about hiding and discovery, but about human devotion, ambition, and the unbreakable bond between a sacred relic and those who dare to protect it. The ark's odyssey continues, silent yet powerful, calling explorers and believers alike to follow the trail that has defied history itself. The Ark of the Covenant, once enshrined in the brilliance of Solomon's temple, had now entered a period of shadowed journeys. Its sacred light, once witnessed by priests and kings alike, became hidden, traveling through secretive hands, often unrecorded in formal histories. The destruction of Jerusalem and the scattering of its people left the Ark vulnerable. Yet paradoxically, it may have been in this vulnerability that the Ark's most remarkable survival story began. Hidden, protected, and carried across unknown landscapes, it became a relic not only of divine power but of human cunning, faith, and determination. Legends hint at early concealments immediately after the Babylonian conquest. Priests and devoted guardians, aware of the Ark's overwhelming importance, may have smuggled it away under cover of darkness, through labyrinthine tunnels, or along secret mountain passes. Some suggest that these guardians acted at great personal risk, walking paths no map could record, carrying a chest that symbolized both faith and imminent danger. Every step was heavy with responsibility. The Ark was not simply a treasure, it was a covenant whose loss could invite calamity, both spiritual and temporal. Historical accounts begin to thin here, creating a space for mystery to flourish. Some scholars propose that the ark was hidden within the hills surrounding Jerusalem, or perhaps transported to remote regions to escape detection by conquerors. Others suggest more ambitious journeys, across deserts, rivers, and even into neighboring nations. Each theory underscores a central truth. Those who sought to protect the ark understood that it could not remain in a world where greed, war, and ambition threatened its sanctity. Its disappearance was not passive. It was a calculated survival, a testament to human ingenuity and devotion. The concept of a tomb-like concealment emerges as a recurring theme. Caves, underground chambers, and secret vaults become candidates for hiding the ark, echoing the ancient human instinct to preserve what is most sacred. In these hidden spaces, the ark's presence transformed the environment itself. The air around it was imagined as charged with holiness. The shadows seemed deeper, and the silence was heavy with expectation. For those guarding it, life became an intricate dance of secrecy, devotion, and sometimes solitude. Every decision, when to move it, when to reveal it, when to pray over it, carried consequences beyond comprehension. Some accounts even suggest that the ark's journey was guided by providence, leading its custodians along paths that combined strategy with spiritual insight. The road from temple to tomb was not merely geographical, it was symbolic. It represented the movement of divine presence into spaces where the human heart and human courage were tested. Each hiding place, each protected vault, became a sanctuary not just for a sacred object, but for the faith of those who bore its weight. The ark's story thus merges the tangible with the transcendent. It is a journey across landscapes and across the moral and spiritual terrain of those entrusted with it. The human element in these tales cannot be overstated. Guardians of the ark faced isolation, danger, and temptation. Some may have been tempted to reveal it for wealth, power, or fame. Yet the greatest custodians adhered to their sacred duty, understanding that the ark's preservation was not merely about survival. It was about fidelity to a covenant that stretched beyond their own lifetimes. Their courage, patience, and devotion ensured that the ark could endure, even as kingdoms fell and centuries passed. It is in these stories that the ark begins to acquire almost legendary qualities. The idea that a golden chest of immense spiritual significance could traverse landscapes unnoticed, evade armies, and survive centuries of upheaval fuels the imagination. It challenges assumptions about human capability and divine protection, suggesting that the intersection of faith and ingenuity can preserve even the most vulnerable yet powerful artifacts. The ark's journey from temple to tomb thus becomes not only a story of concealment, but a meditation on human resolve and the lengths to which devotion can stretch. Some traditions take this journey further, proposing that the ark eventually left Israel altogether, carried to distant lands where it could continue to influence history in ways unseen. Ethiopia, in particular, emerges as a focal point in later accounts, suggesting that the ark's sacred journey did not end with concealment, but began a path that would intertwine with new cultures, dynasties, and faiths. The transition from temple to tomb is thus not merely physical. It is symbolic, representing a movement from a known center of power to the unknown, a migration from visibility into legend. The mystery of the ark's concealment and transit invites reflection on the human fascination with hidden knowledge. What does it mean to guard a secret so powerful that exposure could change the course of empires? What courage, what faith is required to protect not just an object, but an idea, a covenant, a moral and spiritual responsibility? These questions lie at the heart of the ark's journey, elevating it from an artifact of gold and wood to a symbol of enduring devotion, human ingenuity, and the fragile balance between history and legend. As the ark traveled from temple to tomb, it left behind only fragments of evidence, whispers and tradition, and an ever-growing aura of mystery. Each theorized location, each tale of guardianship, serves as a testament to the lengths humans will go to preserve what they hold sacred. The ark's story at this stage is not static. It is a dynamic journey, a narrative shaped by faith, secrecy, and the relentless passage of time. In tracing this journey, we see more than a sacred chest moving across lands. We see the collision of human ambition, divine mandate, and historical upheaval. The ark becomes both a beacon and a shadow, illuminating faith while casting doubt, inspiring devotion while provoking speculation. The temple that once housed it may have fallen, but the ark, hidden and protected, continues its odyssey, quietly influencing the course of history in ways that remain tantalizingly just out of reach. The ark's path from temple to tomb is thus a story of survival, secrecy, and the intersection of the divine and human. It is a bridge between what was lost in Jerusalem and what might later emerge in distant lands, a narrative of devotion and danger, faith and cunning. And it is from this hidden journey that the next chapter unfolds, a chapter that carries the ark toward Ethiopia, into legends that will shape an entire culture and inspire awe for generations to come. As the Ark of the Covenant disappeared from the ruins of Jerusalem, whispers of its journey began to converge on a distant and mysterious land, Ethiopia. Far from the golden streets of Solomon's city and the deserts of the Levant, Ethiopia emerged in legend as a final refuge for the Ark, a land where devotion, secrecy, and faith intertwined to create a sanctuary beyond the reach of conquerors. The notion that the Ark could have crossed continents seems almost fantastical, yet Ethiopian tradition holds it as a central truth, one that shapes both a nation's history and its spiritual identity. According to the Kebra Nagast, the ancient Ethiopian chronicle, the Ark was brought to Ethiopia by Menelik I, said to be the son of Solomon and the queen of Sheba. The story describes a daring journey. Menelik, upon reaching adulthood, travels to Jerusalem and, inspired by divine guidance, returns to Ethiopia with the Ark. Some accounts suggest that he did so without the knowledge of Solomon, a bold act that blends audacity with faith. The narrative paints Menelik as both a guardian and a pioneer, tasked with carrying a relic of unimaginable sanctity across mountains, rivers, and unknown territories. The journey itself, whether literal or symbolic, emphasizes the Ark's dual nature. It is both treasure and covenant, object and idea. To move it from Jerusalem to Ethiopia required courage, devotion, and a profound understanding of its sacredness. Every step became a test of human perseverance and divine favor. Ethiopian tradition imbues this migration with ritual significance, suggesting that those entrusted with the Ark were guided not only by maps or strategy but by visions, intuition, and an awareness of their divine responsibility. The Ark's power demanded more than physical protection. It demanded spiritual guardianship. Upon arrival in Ethiopia, the Ark was said to have been placed in a specially constructed sanctuary, hidden from public view yet central to the spiritual life of the land. The Church of St. Mary of Zion, in Aksum, is believed by many to house the Ark to this day, guarded by a single, devoted priest known as the Guardian. This priest is charged with protecting it, and no one, not even the clergy, is permitted to see it. The Ark's presence is thus transformed from a public symbol of divine authority into a secretive, almost mystical object whose sanctity is preserved through devotion, ritual, and absolute secrecy. The Ethiopian connection also introduces layers of political and cultural significance. By claiming possession of the Ark, Ethiopia asserted a direct link to Solomon's line, intertwining the nation's monarchy, religious identity, and historical narrative with a relic that transcends mere material wealth. The Ark became both a spiritual anchor and a legitimizing force for kings and rulers, granting them a symbolic authority that resonated across centuries. It was more than a treasure, it was a foundation for national and religious identity. Ethiopian traditions emphasize the Ark's continued influence over the land and its people. Miracles, blessings, and divine favor are often attributed to its presence, creating a narrative in which the Ark is not passive but active, shaping events in ways both seen and unseen. Its aura of holiness pervades not just the sanctuary but the cultural consciousness, inspiring devotion, reverence, and awe. Legends describe its golden surface glowing in secret chambers, an ever-present reminder of divine authority and protection. Yet, as with all tales of the Ark, skepticism and mystery accompany devotion. Scholars debate the plausibility of its transfer from Jerusalem to Ethiopia, citing logistical, historical, and political challenges. The lack of definitive evidence allows myths, oral histories, and religious narratives to flourish, blurring the lines between fact and legend. This tension, the coexistence of belief and doubt, is central to the Ark's enduring fascination. It invites exploration, reflection, and imagination, ensuring that the story continues to captivate across cultures and centuries. The Ethiopian connection also underscores the Ark's resilience. It survived not only physical threats, wars, invasions, and natural decay, but also the vagaries of human ambition, secrecy, and devotion. In Ethiopia, the Ark becomes a testament to the lengths humanity will go to preserve what is sacred, to guard a covenant that transcends time, and to honor a legacy that stretches across continents. Its journey transforms from a narrative of loss into a narrative of protection, continuity, and spiritual triumph. Furthermore, the Ark's presence in Ethiopia links the sacred to the everyday life of the people. Festivals, pilgrimages, and religious rituals are imbued with the awareness, or at least the possibility, of its presence. The Ark becomes both a silent witness and an active participant in the culture, shaping not only spiritual practices but social cohesion and national identity. It exists as a symbol of divine promise, a reminder of faith's enduring power, and a challenge to human understanding. The narrative also invites reflection on the interplay between secrecy and devotion. The Ethiopian tradition of guarding the Ark, restricting access even to the highest clergy, suggests a profound respect for its sanctity. This secrecy creates an aura of mystery, making the Ark more than an object. It becomes a legend living within a community's collective consciousness. The guardian's role, solitary and sacred, exemplifies human dedication to the divine, emphasizing that faith is sometimes expressed not through spectacle, but through quiet vigilance and unwavering commitment. In contemplating the Ethiopian connection, one cannot ignore the Ark's symbolic journey from Jerusalem to Aksum. It represents more than a geographical transfer. It symbolizes the movement of divine presence across cultures, continents, and centuries. From the grandeur of Solomon's temple to the hidden sanctuaries of Ethiopia, the Ark's Odyssey illustrates how sacred objects shape not only history but the imagination, beliefs, and identities of those who encounter them. And so, the Ark's journey into Ethiopia becomes a chapter of both legend and enduring faith, a narrative where geography, devotion, and secrecy converge to create a story that continues to intrigue, inspire, and mystify. From temple to tomb to sanctuary, the Ark has transcended its material form, becoming an enduring symbol of power, mystery, and divine presence, its influence echoing across centuries and continents. The Ark of the Covenant, now enshrined in Ethiopia, became more than a sacred relic. It became a secret, a treasure whose presence was known to only a select few. These guardians were not ordinary priests or monks. They were custodians of history, faith, and mystery. Entrusted with the Ark, their lives were bound to its preservation, their existence dedicated to ensuring that the covenant between God and humanity remained unbroken. This duty demanded unwavering devotion, discipline, and sometimes a willingness to live in isolation, removed from the world they were sworn to protect. In Aksum, the Church of St. Mary of Zion stands as the Ark's reputed sanctuary. Within its sacred walls, a single guardian, often called the Keeper of the Ark, assumes a responsibility that spans a lifetime. No one, not even the highest religious authority, is permitted to see the Ark, reinforcing its mystique and sanctity. The guardian's daily life is structured around ritual, prayer, and secrecy. Each act is imbued with purpose, every decision weighted with the knowledge that the Ark's safety depends entirely on human vigilance. Stories tell of the lengths to which these guardians have gone to protect their charge. They have faced natural hazards, political upheaval, and the curiosity of outsiders who sought to glimpse the legendary relic. The Ark's aura, even unseen, commands respect and fear, inspiring caution in those who come near. Guardians understand that exposure could provoke disaster, both spiritually and politically. Their devotion transforms the act of guarding the ark into a profound spiritual discipline, a sacred labor that balances faith, courage, and prudence. The secrecy surrounding the ark also amplifies its power. When an object is hidden, it gains an almost mythical presence. Pilgrims, believers, and even rulers know of its existence but are barred from access, creating a tension that elevates devotion into reverence and awe. The ark, in effect, becomes both a spiritual anchor and a symbol of mystery, a reminder that some truths are preserved not through visibility, but through faithful concealment. The guardians embody this principle, serving as both protectors and intermediaries between the sacred and the profane. The ark's influence on the Ethiopian monarchy cannot be understated. Kings of Ethiopia claimed lineage from Menelik I, the son of Solomon, creating a symbolic connection between the throne and the ark. The guardians, in turn, ensured that this connection remained intact, controlling access and safeguarding the relic's sanctity. By doing so, they protected not only a sacred object, but also a foundation of legitimacy, authority, and divine favor that shaped the nation's identity. The ark became a bridge between spiritual devotion and political stability, a testament to its enduring power. The role of the guardians was not only protective but educational. They passed down oral traditions, rituals, and secret knowledge about the ark, ensuring that successive generations understood the gravity of their responsibility. Each guardian inherited a legacy of faith and secrecy, learning that the ark's survival depended as much on wisdom and discretion as on ritual devotion. Their lives illustrate the extraordinary measures humanity takes to preserve the sacred, highlighting a unique intersection of morality, courage, and spiritual duty. Yet the guardianship of the ark was not without its trials. Throughout history, Ethiopia faced invasions, internal strife, and colonial pressures. Each period of instability presented a threat to the ark, forcing guardians to adapt, conceal, and sometimes even relocate their charge. In these moments, the ark's presence becomes almost cinematic, a silent actor in the drama of human ambition, conflict, and devotion. It is not merely a passive relic. It exerts influence, shaping events, inspiring caution, and demanding vigilance from those sworn to protect it. The secrecy also nurtured a unique relationship between the ark and the people. While its physical presence was hidden, its spiritual influence pervaded daily life. Festivals, prayers, and cultural narratives were infused with awareness of the ark, blending faith with imagination. The guardians, though secluded, maintained a connection between the sacred object and the broader community, ensuring that its mystery remained a source of inspiration rather than alienation. In this way, secrecy became a tool not only of protection, but of enduring reverence and cultural identity. Moreover, the ark's guardianship emphasizes the human element in sacred preservation. Unlike armies or empires, these custodians rely on devotion, discipline, and faith. Their power is subtle, moral, and spiritual, contrasting with the overt might that once surrounded the ark in Solomon's temple. This shift, from public display to private vigilance, transforms the narrative, showing that divine treasures often survive not through force, but through the quiet, relentless dedication of human hearts and minds. The mystique surrounding the guardians has attracted countless adventurers, scholars, and seekers over the centuries. Tales of attempted incursions, secret expeditions, and near discoveries underscore the ark's continued influence on human curiosity and ambition. Yet no outsider has succeeded, reinforcing the notion that true devotion and discretion, not mere desire or cunning, are the keys to approaching the sacred. The ark remains a symbol of the limits of human ambition when confronted with divine mystery. In essence, the guardians of the ark embody the intersection of human courage, spiritual duty, and historical continuity. Their lives are a testament to devotion that transcends self-interest, a commitment to a covenant that stretches beyond lifetimes. Through their vigilance, the ark has survived centuries of turmoil, mystery, and speculation, remaining a powerful emblem of faith and secrecy. It is a living narrative, a bridge between past and present, sacred and mortal, legend and reality. As we consider the Ark's journey into Ethiopia, the role of the guardians reminds us that history is shaped not only by kings and empires, but by individuals willing to carry extraordinary responsibility in silence. The Ark, protected and hidden, continues to exert its influence, demonstrating that some mysteries endure because they are entrusted to those capable of understanding both their value and their danger. The Guardian's devotion ensures that the covenant between the divine and humanity remains intact, even when the world changes around them. The Ark's story, through the lens of its Ethiopian custodians, teaches a profound lesson: that the preservation of the sacred often depends not on visibility or force, but on humility, vigilance, and the quiet courage to protect what must remain hidden. The Ark, though unseen by most, continues to shape faith, culture, and imagination, a powerful symbol of devotion and secrecy that bridges centuries and continents. The Ark of the Covenant, hidden within the sanctified walls of Ethiopia, did more than survive. It inspired miracles. Across generations, stories emerged of events so extraordinary they defied explanation. Accounts that transformed the Ark from an object of gold and wood into a living, almost sentient presence. These tales blend faith and mystery, illustrating how a single sacred artifact can influence human lives in ways both tangible and transcendent. One recurring theme in these legends is divine protection. It is said that the Ark has shielded its guardians, the Ethiopian clergy, and even entire communities from disaster. Stories recount invaders turned away by unseen forces, natural disasters that spared the Ark's sanctuary while ravaging surrounding lands, and illnesses that inexplicably ceased in proximity to its presence. Each account reinforces the notion that the Ark's power extends beyond its material form, operating in a realm where faith, devotion, and divine will converge. Miraculous phenomena associated with the Ark often blur the line between history and legend. Some reports suggest that its golden surface glows in moments of prayer, casting light in otherwise darkened chambers. Others describe the sound of divine music or whispering voices emanating from within, perceptible only to the faithful. These accounts, whether interpreted literally or symbolically, serve a singular purpose: to remind those who venerate the Ark that it is more than an artifact. It is a conduit of the sacred, a tangible bridge between humanity and the divine. The legends also speak of the Ark's role in battle and protection. While it no longer leads armies as it once did in biblical accounts, its influence is said to manifest in subtler ways. Ethiopian history contains stories of rulers and communities receiving guidance or protection through visions or signs linked to the Ark. It is as if the chest, silent and unseen, continues to shape human decisions, inspire courage, and safeguard the righteous. The Ark's miraculous presence becomes both a moral compass and a spiritual anchor, influencing actions without ever leaving its chamber. These miraculous accounts extend to individuals as well. Pilgrims traveling to Aksum often report profound experiences, visions, healing, or a deep sense of peace, attributed to proximity to the Ark, even when the object itself remains unseen. Such phenomena reinforce the Ark's symbolic and spiritual significance, reminding observers that its power is not confined to its materiality. Faith, perception, and devotion interact to create experiences that feel miraculous, elevating the Ark from a relic to an active participant in human life. The legends of miracles serve another purpose: they protect the Ark. By cultivating an aura of sacred invincibility, these stories discourage tampering, theft, or disrespect. Outsiders, aware of the Ark's extraordinary reputation, are deterred by both awe and fear. Even in secrecy, the Ark communicates its power indirectly, shaping human behavior and reinforcing the necessity of devotion and discretion. The miracles, whether historical, symbolic, or spiritual, form a protective narrative that ensures the Ark's continued survival across centuries. Interestingly, these miracles are not confined to dramatic or public displays. Many are subtle: a sudden sense of clarity, an intuitive warning, a moment of unexplainable comfort. They reflect the Ark's dual nature, simultaneously majestic and intimate, imposing and personal. It is both a national symbol of divine favor and a personal source of spiritual guidance, capable of inspiring on a grand scale while touching individual hearts in profound, unseen ways. The legends also intersect with Ethiopian cultural and religious identity. The ark's presence shapes festivals, liturgies, and daily practices, integrating divine miracle with communal life. It becomes a lens through which history, faith, and culture are interpreted, linking past, present, and future. Each miraculous story reinforces the ark's role as a central pillar of Ethiopian spirituality, a sacred constant that offers continuity, hope, and inspiration across generations. Miraculous accounts are sometimes intertwined with moral lessons. Tales of divine retribution against greed, pride, or impiety underscore the ark's role as both blessing and judge. Those who approach it with reverence may witness divine favor. Those who act with selfish intent risk consequences. The ark, in these narratives, is not passive. It is a dynamic force that interacts with human character, rewarding virtue and discouraging hubris. Miracles become moral instruments, teaching that power without humility, devotion without faith, or knowledge without wisdom carries risk. The stories of miracles also bridge continents and eras. Even as news of the ark's presence spread beyond Ethiopia, the tales inspired imagination, exploration, and devotion worldwide. European scholars, explorers, and religious thinkers speculated about its powers, incorporating elements of these Ethiopian legends into broader narratives of divine intervention. The ark becomes a global symbol, a relic whose miraculous aura transcends borders, shaping both history and myth. Ultimately, the miracles attributed to the ark serve a dual purpose. They inspire awe and devotion, and they perpetuate its mystery. By fostering belief, the legends ensure that the ark is never merely an artifact to be studied or exploited. It remains sacred, elusive, and powerful. The miraculous aura preserves both the relic itself and the spiritual tradition surrounding it, creating a feedback loop in which faith ensures secrecy, and secrecy sustains reverence. The ark's miracles remind us of the extraordinary ways in which the sacred can intersect with the human experience. They illustrate a recurring truth, that power and sanctity are not always obvious or visible, and that the most profound influences often operate in silence. Through these legends, the ark continues to shape lives, inspire devotion, and challenge our understanding of history, faith, and the boundaries between the natural and the divine. As the ark remains hidden in Ethiopia, these tales of miracles offer a glimpse into its enduring influence. They connect us to the custodians, the faithful, and the countless generations who have revered it, showing that the ark's journey is not only physical but spiritual, affecting hearts and minds in ways that transcend geography and time. The miracles are more than stories. They are a testament to the ark's power, a reflection of human faith, and a reminder that some mysteries are preserved not by force, but by devotion, reverence, and the extraordinary belief in the unseen. While the Ark of the Covenant inspired awe and miracles, it also cultivated an aura of strict prohibition. In Ethiopia, access to the Ark is tightly controlled, a sacred boundary that separates the ordinary from the divine. Only the appointed guardian, a solitary figure of faith and devotion, may approach the relic, ensuring that it remains untouched by curiosity, greed, or inadvertent disrespect. This restriction transforms the Ark from a public symbol into an intensely private and almost mystical presence, reinforcing its power through absence and secrecy. The forbidden nature of access has profound psychological and spiritual implications. Believers understand that the Ark is not merely a treasure to be admired. It is a covenant with consequences. Legends warn that those who attempt to view or handle it without permission risk divine retribution, illness, misfortune, or even death. These stories, whether literal or symbolic, function as a protective mechanism, deterring intrusion while heightening the mystique surrounding the relic. Forbidden access becomes a narrative in itself, one that inspires reverence, curiosity, and caution. The strict control over the Ark also emphasizes its role as a moral and spiritual test. The guardian embodies obedience, humility, and vigilance, modeling the qualities necessary to preserve something sacred. In contrast, the prohibition serves as a cautionary reminder to outsiders. Not all power is meant to be possessed, and some truths exist beyond human reach. By enforcing this boundary, the Ark's custodians communicate a timeless lesson. Faith and devotion are earned through respect and discipline, not mere desire or ambition. Historical and modern accounts underscore the challenges of this prohibition. Explorers, pilgrims, and scholars have long sought to glimpse the Ark, yet almost all have been denied, reinforcing the idea that sacred power must be approached with preparation, reverence, and patience. Attempts to breach this boundary are consistently met with failure or narrative cautionary tales, illustrating that some mysteries persist precisely because they are protected. The Ark's sanctity is maintained not through force, but through reverence, secrecy, and human integrity. The forbidden access also highlights the intimate relationship between the guardian and the Ark. Unlike temples or shrines that are open to the public, here the sacred and the mortal intersect in a deeply personal way. The guardian's life is inseparable from their duty. Meals, prayers, and daily routines revolve around preparation, vigilance, and spiritual alignment with the Ark. This solitary devotion ensures continuity across generations, creating an unbroken line of custodians whose purpose transcends ordinary existence. Cultural implications are profound. By restricting access, the Ark becomes a symbol of ultimate spiritual authority, reminding both rulers and ordinary people that some aspects of the divine are not negotiable or accessible through wealth, power, or influence. In Ethiopia, this principle reinforces the Ark's role in national and religious identity, symbolizing continuity, sacredness, and divine legitimacy. The Ark's forbidden nature ensures that it remains a central, unifying element of faith, a focal point around which stories, rituals, and national pride revolve. The mystery of forbidden access has also fueled speculation and myth. Foreign observers and curious insiders alike have woven narratives of hidden chambers, miraculous defenses, and divine protection mechanisms. Each retelling magnifies the Ark's aura, blending history with imagination and solidifying its status as an object that cannot be comprehended fully by human perception. The prohibition itself becomes part of the legend, a protective charm as powerful as any ritual or blessing. At a psychological level, the Ark's restricted access mirrors the human fascination with the unattainable. Desire intensifies in the face of limitation, and stories of denied access deepen the allure. The Ark's power is amplified not only by what it is but by what it is not, unseen, untouchable, and beyond human control. This interplay of presence and absence, visibility and secrecy, shapes human perception, making the Ark an object of both devotion and obsession, inspiring or without exposure. The forbidden access also enforces continuity of tradition. By limiting who may approach the Ark, generations of Ethiopian custodians maintain not only its physical protection, but its spiritual integrity. Each guardian inherits a role steeped in ritual, discipline, and unbroken faith, ensuring that the Ark is not corrupted, misinterpreted, or trivialized. This system of selective access preserves the sanctity of the Ark across centuries, demonstrating that the survival of sacred power depends as much on human wisdom and restraint as on divine providence. Ultimately, the Ark's forbidden access illustrates the delicate balance between reverence and curiosity, power and humility. It is a reminder that some knowledge is sacred because it must be protected, not because it is unattainable. The Ark, though hidden from view, continues to exert influence, guiding faith, shaping culture, and inspiring devotion through its very inaccessibility. Its power lies not only in its material presence but in the profound respect it commands, the mystery it preserves, and the lessons it imparts through the restraint it imposes. In the broader narrative of the Ark, forbidden access is a defining moment. It marks a transition from historical artifact to living legend, from material relic to enduring symbol of devotion, secrecy, and spiritual authority. The Ark's influence continues to ripple through Ethiopia and beyond, a constant reminder that some mysteries endure because they are protected, respected, and approached only with humility and faith. As we prepare to explore the next chapter, where the Ark's story intersects with legends of divine power, celestial intervention, and extraordinary events, the theme of forbidden access sets the stage. It reminds us that the journey of the Ark is as much about human devotion, moral responsibility, and reverence as it is about geography, history, or myth. Its power is preserved in secrecy, its sanctity maintained through vigilance, and its story continues to captivate because it remains, in large part, just out of reach. The Ark of the Covenant has long been associated not only with earthly power, but with cosmic significance. Across centuries, whispers and accounts link it to celestial events, prophetic visions, and divine signs, suggesting that its importance extends far beyond the confines of any temple or sanctuary. In Ethiopian tradition and broader Abrahamic law, the Ark is not merely a relic. It is a bridge between the mortal and the divine, a symbol through which heaven communicates with humanity. Stories of celestial connections often describe the Ark as a radiant object whose light interacts with the heavens. Some accounts tell of a golden glow emanating from its presence that aligns with the stars, the sun, or rays celestial phenomena, creating a spectacle that inspires awe and reinforces the sacred. Witnesses, whether mystics or devoted priests, interpret these phenomena as signs of divine favor or warnings of judgment. The Ark's radiance, visible only to the faithful or those deemed worthy, creates a mystical interplay between light, sky, and human perception. Prophecies linked to the Ark abound. Ancient texts, oral traditions, and religious commentaries describe visions of the Ark as a harbinger of change, a divine instrument signaling shifts in fortune, leadership, or the moral balance of nations. These prophecies often intertwine with historical events, suggesting that the Ark's presence, hidden or revealed, exerts subtle influence on the course of human history. Kings, prophets, and clergy have interpreted its movements as signs of divine will, reinforcing its reputation as an object of cosmic importance. Some Ethiopian traditions hold that the Ark's concealment was itself guided by celestial forces. Guardians are said to have received visions, dreams, or other forms of divine communication, directing them to move or protect the Ark in ways that human reasoning alone could not determine. These accounts suggest that the Ark operates not just within human history, but along a broader, cosmic trajectory. It is both protected and guided by forces beyond comprehension, making its survival a matter of both earthly vigilance and heavenly providence. The Ark's celestial associations also intertwine with notions of prophecy and destiny. Legends suggest that it has the power to influence the rise and fall of rulers, to bless the faithful, or to punish the arrogant. Its presence is linked to the fate of nations, often interpreted as a tangible sign of divine favor or judgment. Such stories amplify the Ark's aura of mystery, merging spiritual, moral, and political dimensions into a single, compelling narrative. It is at once an artifact and a symbol, a relic of history and a force of destiny. Astronomical phenomena often reinforce the Ark's celestial legends. Some narratives describe unusual alignments of stars, eclipses, or other cosmic events coinciding with important moments in the Ark's history. These coincidences are interpreted as confirmations of prophecy, reinforcing the idea that the Ark is a conduit for divine communication. Such accounts blur the lines between observation and faith, history and legend, suggesting that the Ark's power is both material and symbolic, observable and transcendent. Prophecies surrounding the Ark also emphasize morality and virtue. Tales describe that the Ark's power favors those who act with righteousness and humility, while defying or disrespecting it invites catastrophe. This moral dimension elevates the Ark beyond mere object or artifact. It becomes a living covenant, a test of human character and devotion. Celestial signs, prophecies, and miracles all converge to communicate a central truth. The Ark is a force that demands respect, integrity, and unwavering faith. Some mystics and historians suggest that the Ark's influence may have extended even further, inspiring the development of spiritual and astronomical knowledge. Observations of celestial patterns linked to the ark's presence could have guided calendars, religious festivals, and cultural practices. In this sense, the ark's power is both symbolic and practical, influencing the rhythm of human life while remaining shrouded in divine mystery. Its celestial connection reinforces its role as a nexus between the earthly and the divine. The ark's prophetic role also intersects with human ambition and imagination. Kings, explorers, and scholars have long speculated on the ark's hidden power, dreaming of its potential to influence destiny, reveal divine truths, or even reshape history. Yet the legends emphasize that such power is not freely granted. It requires faith, obedience, and reverence. The ark, through celestial signs and prophecies, enforces a principle that has endured through centuries. Sacred power cannot be claimed through force or curiosity alone. It must be approached with humility and devotion. Even today, the ark's celestial connections continue to inspire speculation and study. Astronomers, theologians, and historians analyze texts and legends, attempting to reconcile celestial accounts with historical and physical evidence. The ark's story becomes a lens through which we explore human belief, cosmic patterns, and the enduring desire to connect with the divine. Each celestial legend reinforces the ark's mystique, ensuring that its narrative remains vibrant, provocative, and deeply engaging. Ultimately, the ark's connection to the heavens underscores its unique status as a relic that transcends time, place, and human understanding. It is simultaneously a historical artifact, a sacred symbol, and a focal point for divine communication. Prophecies, visions, and celestial phenomena all serve to remind us that the ark is more than gold and wood. It is a living testament to the interplay between humanity and the cosmos, between faith, morality, and destiny. As we move forward into the next chapter, where the ark's earthly and celestial influence collide with tales of exploration, discovery, and near misses, we carry with us the knowledge that its story is as much about the heavens as it is about human devotion. The ark continues to captivate, inspire, and challenge, reminding us that some mysteries are preserved because they operate simultaneously in the material world and the realm of the divine, always just out of reach, yet profoundly present. The legend of the Ark of the Covenant has always drawn more than the faithful. It has captivated the curious, the ambitious, and the daring. Across centuries, explorers and adventurers have risked life and reputation in search of the Ark, driven by promises of glory, spiritual insight, or unparalleled power. From European scholars to intrepid travelers, the Ark has been a magnet for those willing to traverse deserts, mountains, and political intrigue, drawn by the allure of the ultimate mystery. During the Middle Ages, tales of the Ark filtered into Europe, carried by pilgrims, merchants, and missionaries returning from distant lands. Accounts of Ethiopia's sacred relics, the Kebra Nagast, and the guarded sanctuary at Aksum sparked fascination and speculation. European adventurers dreamed of witnessing the golden chest, of uncovering a treasure whose spiritual and historical significance was unmatched. For many, the Ark represented not just a religious artifact, but the promise of knowledge, power, and eternal renown. These explorers faced enormous challenges. Ethiopia, remote and politically complex, was difficult to access. Travel required navigating treacherous terrain, negotiating with rulers, and surviving diseases, bandits, and hostile climates. Yet the possibility of the Ark drove men to risk everything. Some brought letters of safe passage from monarchs. Others relied on faith, intuition, or rumor to guide them to Aksum. Every step was fraught with danger, and failure could mean exile, illness, or death. Even those who arrived in Ethiopia often encountered frustration. The Ark was carefully protected, its guardian enforcing strict rules of access. Visitors were allowed to see the church, sometimes participate in ceremonies, but the Ark itself remained unseen. Many recorded their disappointment in journals, yet these very failures only heightened the Ark's mystique. The inaccessibility of the relic transformed desire into obsession, fascination into legend. The more it eluded explorers, the more its power and allure grew. Some adventurers claimed to witness subtle signs of the ark's presence. Pilgrims and travelers reported feeling awe, experiencing unexplainable warmth, or sensing an unseen energy during their visits. Others interpreted local rituals and ceremonies as indirect encounters with the relic itself. While the ark remained hidden, its influence was tangible, shaping behavior, inspiring reverence, and reinforcing the sense that a divine secret was being carefully preserved behind locked doors. The pursuit of the ark also intersected with political ambition. Monarchs, colonial powers, and religious leaders all recognized the symbolic significance of possessing such a relic. For some European expeditions, the goal was not purely spiritual curiosity. It was also prestige, power, and influence. Yet, Ethiopia's custodial traditions ensured that even the most determined outsiders could not claim the ark. The guardian's vigilance, combined with cultural and religious respect, thwarted every attempt, preserving the ark's sanctity and reinforcing the lessons of humility and devotion. Adventure stories surrounding the ark are also rich with intrigue. There are accounts of secret maps, coded letters, and hidden passages suggested by guides or interpreters. Each tale adds layers to the legend, blending historical exploration with near-mythical quests. The ark's narrative becomes an intersection of human daring and divine protection, a story where ambition and faith collide, and where every failure reinforces the idea that some treasures are not meant for ordinary possession. Explorers' accounts also reflect human psychology. The ark represents the ultimate unknown, a mystery that challenges intellect, courage, and faith simultaneously. It is both a spiritual quest and a psychological test, revealing the character, determination, and humility of those who pursue it. Many came seeking power or fame, yet left with lessons in reverence, patience, and the limits of human understanding. In this way, the ark transforms every expedition into a mirror of human ambition and spiritual aspiration. Some of these adventurers became part of the ark's evolving mythology. Their journals, letters, and anecdotes entered popular imagination, influencing subsequent generations of seekers. Tales of perilous journeys, near discoveries, and divine signs spread across continents, creating a network of stories that merged exploration with legend. The ark, though hidden, became a focal point of global imagination, shaping history as much through stories as through its physical presence. Ultimately, the explorers and adventurers remind us that the ark's influence is not confined to Ethiopia or sacred spaces. It radiates outward, touching the minds and hearts of all who hear its story. Its journey inspires courage, curiosity, and devotion, illustrating that sacred objects endure not only through preservation but also through the imagination they spark. Every attempted discovery, every failed quest, becomes a chapter in the ark's history, a testament to its enduring power and the human fascination with the unknown. As we move forward into the next chapter, where myths, conspiracies, and historical enigmas converge, the ark's legacy as a catalyst for human ambition, belief, and obsession sets the stage. It is a reminder that sacred power is not passive. It shapes history, imagination, and destiny, influencing those bold enough to seek it and teaching lessons to those who are not yet ready to grasp its mystery. The Ark of the Covenant, even in the sanctuary of Ethiopia, is surrounded by whispers of secret places, lost temples, hidden vaults, and subterranean chambers that conceal fragments of history too powerful to be revealed. Legends suggest that throughout its journey, the Ark has been safeguarded within structures designed not just for protection, but for secrecy, spiritual alignment, and divine reverence. These hidden places are said to resonate with the sacred energy of the Ark itself, transforming stone and wood into conduits of divine power. Ancient Ethiopian architecture offers clues to these hidden spaces. The churches of Aksum, constructed with massive stones and intricate carvings, are rumored to contain concealed chambers that were never meant for ordinary eyes. Some believe that beneath the Church of St. Mary of Zion lie tunnels or vaults, labyrinthine in design, intended to mislead intruders while protecting the Ark. Each wall, corridor, and threshold is more than functional. It is symbolic, reflecting centuries of ritualized care, divine symbolism, and strategic foresight. Historical accounts suggest that the Ark's journey across Ethiopia required temporary sanctuaries, some of which have since vanished. Local oral traditions speak of monasteries hidden deep in the mountains, caves in remote valleys, and isolated temples constructed for the sole purpose of safeguarding sacred relics. These places often vanish from historical records, leaving behind only myths, sketches, or fragmented stories. Their disappearance reinforces the Ark's aura of mystery, suggesting that its custodians were not merely preserving an object, but orchestrating a network of secrecy that transcended time. Archaeologists and explorers have occasionally attempted to locate these lost temples, drawn by maps, manuscripts, or rumors. Some expeditions report hidden chambers, sealed doors, or carved inscriptions hinting at sacred treasures within. Yet the Ark itself remains elusive, concealed not by chance but by deliberate design. The Guardian's knowledge, combined with the natural geography of Ethiopia, mountains, cliffs, and dense forests, creates a nearly impenetrable barrier, ensuring that only those deemed worthy may even approach. The notion of hidden vaults extends beyond physical protection. It is a spiritual safeguard. Ethiopian tradition suggests that the Ark's sanctity requires it to remain isolated, separated from the profane world. The hidden temples act as spiritual fortresses, designed to maintain the Ark's divine resonance. Within these spaces, rituals and prayers amplify the relic's sacred power, connecting the mortal realm to the divine in a way that ordinary structures cannot achieve. The architecture itself becomes a vessel of faith, echoing with centuries of devotion and secrecy. These lost temples are often associated with divine tests. Legends describe hidden mechanisms, spiritual trials, or encoded instructions designed to protect the Ark from those unworthy of its presence. Missteps, disrespect, or impulsive intrusion are said to trigger misfortune, reinforcing the Ark's reputation as a sacred force that cannot be approached lightly. Each hidden vault, therefore, serves a dual purpose: physical protection and moral or spiritual guidance, teaching that access to the divine requires humility, patience, and devotion. Some historians propose that these hidden chambers preserve more than the Ark itself. They may house artifacts, scrolls, or relics connected to Solomon's temple, Menelik's journey, or other lost civilizations. If true, these hidden vaults represent a treasure trove of history and knowledge, offering insight into ancient technologies, religious practices, and human devotion. Yet, the lack of confirmed discoveries keeps these stories firmly in the realm of legend, allowing imagination, reverence, and mystery to flourish. The secrecy surrounding lost temples also reinforces the Ark's influence on culture and faith. Communities near rumored locations treat these sites with respect and ritualized observance, even if the Ark is never directly seen. Pilgrimages, ceremonies, and local law maintain the sanctity of these hidden spaces, creating a living tradition that connects present generations with the distant past. In this way, the lost temples are not merely relics of architecture. They are vessels of memory, devotion, and spiritual continuity. The myths of hidden vaults also intersect with adventure, speculation, and even conspiracy. Foreign explorers, colonial powers, and treasure hunters have attempted to uncover these secret places, drawn by promises of spiritual revelation or historical prestige. Many returned empty-handed, often recording cryptic clues or encounters that fuel the legend further. The very attempt to find the Ark or its vaults becomes part of the mythos, illustrating the interplay between human ambition and sacred protection. The Ark, though hidden, continues to shape history by inspiring quests, explorations, and narratives that blend reality and legend. Ultimately, the lost temples and hidden vaults illustrate a central truth about the Ark. Its power lies not just in its material form, but in the stories, devotion, and secrecy that surround it. The Ark survives because it is protected not only by guardians but by a network of myth, geography, and ritual. Each hidden chamber reinforces its sanctity, ensuring that the covenant it represents endures across centuries, cultures, and human ambition. As we transition to the next chapter, where intrigue deepens through conspiracy theories, contested histories, and the search for truth, the hidden vaults serve as a reminder. The Ark is more than an object. It is a catalyst for human imagination, faith, and the eternal struggle to grasp the divine. Its story continues to unfold, hidden yet ever-present, challenging every generation to balance curiosity with reverence, ambition with humility, and knowledge with faith. The Ark of the Covenant is as much a subject of intrigue and speculation as it is of faith. Its disappearance, secret guardianship, and miraculous aura have given rise to countless conspiracies and contested histories. Across centuries, historians, theologians, adventurers, and skeptics have debated its location, purpose, and influence, creating a tangled web of conflicting narratives that only deepen the Ark's mystery. These disputes highlight humanity's obsession with sacred power and the lengths people will go to claim, explain, or control it. One of the most enduring conspiracies surrounds the claim that the Ark was hidden deliberately to prevent its capture by foreign powers. Some scholars suggest that after the destruction of Solomon's temple, the Ark was smuggled out of Jerusalem to protect it from invading armies. Others argue that its removal was politically motivated, ensuring that whoever controlled the Ark could assert divine legitimacy over kings, priests, and nations. The absence of concrete evidence leaves these theories tantalizingly plausible, fueling centuries of speculation. Historical records reveal conflicting accounts of the Ark's journey. While Ethiopian tradition asserts that Menelik I brought the Ark to Aksum, Jewish and Christian sources provide alternative narratives. Some claim it remained in Babylonian captivity. Others suggest it vanished entirely, its fate forever unknown. Each version carries its own political, religious, and cultural implications, making the Ark a contested symbol as much as a sacred relic. These conflicting histories highlight the power of narrative and the human tendency to intertwine faith, ambition, and identity with objects of immense symbolic weight. Conspiracies also emerge in the modern era. European explorers, colonial officials, and secret societies have been implicated in attempts to locate or exploit the Ark. Rumors of hidden maps, coded manuscripts, and clandestine expeditions abound. Some suggest that the Ark has been deliberately concealed from the world, guarded not only by Ethiopian custodians but by secret networks spanning continents. Whether grounded in fact or fueled by imagination, these stories reinforce the Ark's aura of impenetrable mystery and unparalleled significance. Contested histories often focus on the Ark's supposed powers. Some claim it can influence political events, grant divine insight, or even produce miraculous phenomena. Skeptics dismiss these notions as legend, yet eyewitness accounts, oral histories, and religious testimonies persist, creating a dual narrative in which the Ark is both a historical object and a living symbol of power. The tension between belief and doubt adds depth to its story, making the Ark a mirror of human curiosity, fear, and ambition. Some conspiracies extend to the idea that the Ark may have been moved multiple times, hidden in secret locations to avoid destruction or theft. These claims suggest a deliberate effort across centuries to manipulate history, protect sacred knowledge, or control spiritual authority. The Ark's journey, whether through deserts, mountains, or hidden vaults, becomes a narrative of strategy, courage, and human cunning, adding layers to the legend and complicating attempts to separate fact from myth. The contested histories also reveal how deeply the Ark influences identity and legitimacy. In Ethiopia, possession of the Ark legitimized rulers as descendants of Solomon and heirs to divine covenant. In other regions, stories of the Ark's presence or absence affected religious authority, political claims, and national narratives. The Ark's symbolic power extends beyond physical proximity. It shapes belief, governance, and cultural cohesion, underscoring its role as a transcendent object of human attention and ambition. Modern research attempts to reconcile these conspiracies with archaeology, textual analysis, and historical evidence. Scholars examine manuscripts, inscriptions, and oral traditions, seeking patterns that might reveal the Ark's path. Some propose correlations between biblical accounts and Ethiopian chronicles. Others highlight discrepancies, gaps, and contradictions. The very act of investigation underscores the ark's enigmatic nature. The more one searches, the more the story unfolds, revealing new mysteries rather than definitive answers. Yet, these contested histories do not diminish the ark's impact, they enhance it. The endless debates, secretive expeditions, and conflicting accounts all serve to maintain its legend, reinforcing the perception that the ark is more than an artifact. It is a living narrative, continuously shaped by human curiosity, devotion, and ambition. Every conspiracy, whether true or imagined, becomes a testament to the ark's enduring influence on human thought and imagination. Ultimately, the ark's conspiracies and contested histories remind us of the fragile line between fact and faith, history and legend. They illustrate how sacred objects can inspire devotion, conflict, and curiosity simultaneously, shaping the course of culture, religion, and scholarship. The ark story is not static. It is an evolving tapestry, woven from centuries of human experience, belief, and speculation. Its mystery endures precisely because it invites both awe and inquiry, reverence and ambition, devotion and doubt. As we move forward into the next chapter, where scholars, explorers, and religious authorities confront the ark's mysteries head-on, the conspiracies set the stage. They remind us that the quest for sacred knowledge is fraught with peril, ambiguity, and human desire, and that the ark's power persists not only in its physical form but in the minds, hearts, and histories of those who seek it. The Ark of the Covenant has transcended centuries, yet even in the modern era, its allure remains irresistible. Scholars, archaeologists, and adventurers alike have embarked on quests to locate the Ark, driven by a mix of historical curiosity, spiritual devotion, and the intoxicating possibility of uncovering the ultimate relic. These searches combine rigorous scholarship with daring exploration, blending methodical research with the unpredictability of terrain, culture, and human ambition. Modern archaeological pursuits often begin with manuscripts, inscriptions, and oral histories. Researchers examine Ethiopian chronicles, biblical texts, and medieval European accounts, seeking patterns or hidden clues that might reveal the ark's trajectory. Every document is scrutinized. Dates, names, locations, and ritual practices may hold subtle hints. Scholars meticulously compare these sources, aware that centuries of translation, interpretation, and myth-making have layered the ark's story with both truth and embellishment. Fieldwork in Ethiopia presents its own challenges. The terrain is formidable. Mountains, deep valleys, and dense forests conceal potential sites, while climate and logistical hurdles test even the most prepared expeditions. Archaeologists must navigate political boundaries, local customs, and religious sensitivities. The ark's sanctity means that access to sacred spaces is tightly controlled, requiring not only scholarly rigor but also diplomacy, respect, and patience. These challenges ensure that the search is as much a test of character as of intellect. Technology has transformed modern searches. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, and 3D mapping allow researchers to explore regions previously considered inaccessible. Remote sensing can reveal subterranean structures, hidden chambers, or anomalies that might indicate ancient temples or vaults. Yet even with advanced tools, the ark remains elusive, often concealed by both natural obstacles and deliberate human effort. Each discovery, whether a possible tomb, crypt, or hidden corridor, raises more questions than answers, feeding the legend and inspiring further pursuit. In addition to archaeology, the search involves anthropology and local collaboration. Understanding Ethiopian traditions, oral histories, and cultural practices is essential. Local communities hold knowledge passed down through generations, knowledge that often hints at hidden rituals, secret sites, or symbolic meanings tied to the ark. Researchers who engage with these communities gain insights unavailable in written records, discovering that the ark's mystery is as much social and cultural as it is historical or material. Modern explorers also confront ethical dilemmas. The ark is not merely an artifact to be uncovered. It is a living symbol of faith and identity. Excavation or exposure risks desecrating a sacred object, violating centuries of devotion and disrupting cultural heritage. Many scholars emphasize restraint, advocating for non-invasive methods and deep respect for local beliefs. This tension between discovery and reverence underscores the Ark's power. It commands on not only through legend but through the ethical responsibility it imposes on those who seek it. Despite these challenges, the search continues to captivate the global imagination. Books, documentaries, and academic papers perpetuate theories about the Ark's possible locations, from hidden Ethiopian monasteries to remote desert ruins. Speculation about lost tunnels, secret vaults, or celestial alignments inspires both professional and amateur seekers. Every potential lead, however tentative, becomes part of a larger narrative, a century-spanning quest in which human determination, ingenuity, and faith are tested against history, geography, and mystery. Some modern accounts report astonishing discoveries, or at least moments that feel extraordinary. Researchers claim to encounter hidden inscriptions, unusual artifacts, or architectural alignments that suggest sacred purpose. While no verified discovery of the Ark itself has been made, these encounters reinforce the idea that the relic's influence persists, shaping human exploration and thought. The Ark's legend is thus both a historical and experimental phenomenon. It exists in memory, imagination, and the act of searching itself. The modern pursuit also intersects with politics and diplomacy. Ethiopia's sovereignty, religious authority, and cultural heritage influence access, interpretation, and the management of potential sites. Scholars must navigate complex relationships with clergy, government officials, and local leaders, balancing respect with scientific inquiry. The Ark's continued presence, both physical and symbolic, shapes these dynamics, reminding researchers that sacred objects can exert real-world influence long after their original creation. Interestingly, the Ark's modern search highlights human psychology. The pursuit embodies a universal quest for meaning, connection, and discovery. Explorers, archaeologists, and scholars are drawn not only by the promise of uncovering a relic, but by the allure of bridging the gap between myth and reality. Each expedition is a reflection of human ambition, courage, and imagination, illustrating how an unseen object can inspire profound determination, creativity, and devotion. Ultimately, modern searches reveal the Ark's enduring relevance. It is a bridge between past and present, history and legend, faith and inquiry. The relic continues to challenge, inspire, and captivate, demanding that each generation balance curiosity with respect, knowledge with humility, and ambition with devotion. Its presence, hidden yet palpable, shapes the actions, thoughts, and aspirations of those who seek it, demonstrating that sacred objects endure not only through material survival, but through their ongoing influence on human consciousness. As we move into the next chapter, where mystery deepens through unexplained phenomena, eyewitness accounts, and the interplay of history and legend, modern searches remind us that the Ark's story is far from static. It is a living narrative, unfolding across time and space, challenging humanity to pursue truth, faith, and understanding while respecting the sacred boundaries that have preserved it for millennia. The Ark of the Covenant, while physically concealed, has left an indelible impression on those who have come near its presence. Across centuries, eyewitness accounts and mystical experiences paint a portrait of a relic that is not merely material, but alive in a spiritual and psychological sense. Pilgrims, clergy, and travelers recount moments of inexplicable phenomena and profound personal transformation, suggesting that the Ark communicates through more than sight. It operates on the level of the soul. Many accounts describe an overwhelming sense of presence or energy when near the Ark. Witnesses report feelings of warmth, sudden clarity, or even physical sensations that defy ordinary explanation. Some speak of hearing whispers, celestial music, or seeing visions of divine light that appear to emanate from the hidden relic. These experiences often leave a lasting imprint, transforming belief into certainty, devotion into obsession, and curiosity into reverence. The Ark's influence is felt not through direct observation, but through perception, intuition, and spiritual sensitivity. Mystical experiences often occur during ritual or prayer. Ethiopian priests recount that even being in the same chamber as the ark, without seeing it, can provoke intense spiritual encounters. Pilgrims describe sudden visions of ancient events, Solomon in Jerusalem, Menelik carrying the ark, or divine interventions shaping the course of history. These visions are not consistent but personal, tailored to the spiritual state and devotion of the observer. Each account reinforces the idea that the ark's power is both selective and deliberate, reaching only those who approach with respect, faith, and humility. Eyewitness accounts also describe moments of miraculous protection. Travelers recount being shielded from natural dangers, illness, or misfortune while in proximity to the ark's sanctuary. Entire communities report incidents where crops flourished unexpectedly, floods diverted, or danger subsided during sacred ceremonies. Whether interpreted as divine intervention, psychological resonance, or coincidence, these accounts have strengthened faith across generations, deepening the legend that the ark continues to shape human lives in tangible ways. Some mystical experiences involve time and memory itself. Pilgrims and witnesses describe feelings of stepping into history, as though past, present, and future converge in the presence of the ark. Ancient rituals, biblical narratives, and the lineage of custodians seem to collapse into a singular experience of continuity and sacredness. This temporal resonance creates a sense of immortality and purpose, reminding observers that the ark is not just a relic of the past, but a living touchstone connecting generations across centuries. Eyewitness accounts often highlight the ark's selective accessibility. Not all who approach experience these phenomena. The stories emphasize that receptivity depends on spiritual readiness, humility, and devotion. Those who seek it with selfish intent or disrespect are said to experience discomfort, fear, or disorientation, reinforcing the ark's role as a moral as well as spiritual instrument. In this way, mystical encounters are both reward and test, a reflection of character as much as circumstance. Historical narratives blend with personal experience to form a complex tapestry. Scholars who have studied Ethiopian texts, oral traditions, and pilgrimage accounts note that these experiences are documented, preserved, and interpreted with care. The ark becomes more than an object. It is a medium through which divine communication occurs, a living presence that interacts with humans in subtle yet profound ways. Its influence is both enduring and evolving, shaping personal faith while sustaining cultural memory. Interestingly, some accounts describe visions of the ark beyond Ethiopia, suggesting that its influence transcends geography. Pilgrims report dreamlike encounters, prophetic insights, or spiritual guidance that appears to emanate from the ark itself, even when physically distant. These phenomena imply that the ark's power is not confined to material proximity. It exists as an idea, a symbol, and a spiritual presence capable of reaching across space, inspiring devotion, and influencing perception. Mystical experiences also serve as moral and ethical lessons. Eyewitnesses frequently interpret the ark's influence as guidance, warnings against pride, hubris, or greed, and encouragement toward humility, faith, and service. In this sense, the ark functions as a living teacher, shaping character and belief through subtle yet undeniable experiences. The narrative of the ark is therefore not only historical but transformative, affecting the inner lives of those who encounter it, directly or indirectly. Ultimately, these accounts illustrate the ark's enduring power to move, challenge, and inspire. Its influence is simultaneously mystical, psychological, and cultural, demonstrating that some sacred objects exert authority not merely through visibility or possession, but through presence, resonance, and a profound human need to connect with the divine. Eyewitnesses and mystics remind us that the ark's story is alive, unfolding in ways that transcend physical location, historical record, or scholarly investigation. As we transition to the next chapter, where the ark's influence intersect with spiritual practices, ritual significance, and national identity, these mystical experiences establish a critical context. They show that the ark's power is not merely symbolic, but active, affecting human behavior, belief, and devotion in ways that persist across centuries, shaping history even as it remains hidden from view. In Ethiopia, the Ark of the Covenant is not merely a religious artifact. It is the heartbeat of national identity, a symbol interwoven with history, faith, and cultural continuity. Its presence has shaped rituals, ceremonies, and daily life, forging a connection between divine authority and human governance that spans generations. In this land, where the Ark is revered above all, it is both protector and legitimizer, inspiring devotion and reinforcing the social fabric through centuries of reverence. The most vivid expressions of the Ark's influence are the rituals surrounding it. Ceremonies, often held in dimly lit sanctuaries, involve intricate chants, rhythmic drumming, and processions led by priests clad in white robes. Only the appointed guardian may approach the Ark itself, carrying the weight of spiritual responsibility. The chants and movements are not mere pageantry. They are considered vital to maintaining the Ark's sacred presence, aligning human intention with divine will. Through these rituals, ordinary spaces transform into conduits of holiness, linking the mortal world with the divine in an ongoing act of devotion. Faith in the Ark extends beyond ritual into every aspect of Ethiopian life. From agriculture to governance, the Ark's symbolic presence informs decisions, inspires courage, and shapes ethical frameworks. Kings and leaders claim legitimacy through association with the Ark, while local communities believe its protection extends to their homes, harvests, and health. The Ark's influence permeates social norms, morality, and collective consciousness, reinforcing a shared identity grounded in reverence for the sacred and recognition of divine authority. National identity and spiritual devotion are inseparable when it comes to the Ark. Ethiopian chronicles describe Menelik I as the first to bring the Ark to Aksum, establishing a lineage that connects the nation directly to Solomon and the divine covenant. This historical narrative is more than legend. It is a foundational story that legitimizes Ethiopia's monarchy, religious authority, and cultural continuity. By preserving the Ark and its associated rituals, Ethiopia maintains a living connection to an ancient covenant, demonstrating the power of faith as both spiritual and national glue. The Ark also functions as a moral compass for the community. Through its rituals, priests, and guardianship, it conveys lessons of obedience, humility, and integrity. Local legends warn that misdeeds, disrespect, or impure motives will invoke divine retribution, reinforcing ethical conduct through belief in the Ark's presence. In this way, faith becomes tangible, embedded in daily practice, social interaction, and communal life. The Ark is not merely observed. It actively shapes behavior and upholds societal values, its influence extending far beyond the sanctuary walls. Cultural expressions tied to the Ark are rich and diverse. Festivals, pilgrimages, and processions commemorate its presence, blending music, dance, and storytelling in ways that reinforce communal memory. These events are both celebratory and reverential, designed to honor the Ark while educating successive generations about their heritage. In every movement, song, and ritual gesture, the Ark story is enacted, embedding history, morality, and identity into the lived experience of the people. The Ark's role in national identity also intersects with political symbolism. Ethiopian rulers, from emperors to regional leaders, have leveraged its spiritual authority to unify or legitimize power. Its association with divine favor offers a transcendent source of legitimacy, a reminder that authority is contingent not merely on force or conquest, but on adherence to sacred principles. In times of conflict or transition, the Ark serves as a rallying point, a symbol that continuity and order depend on faith, moral responsibility, and respect for divine mandate. Rituals surrounding the Ark are also deeply personal. For individuals, participating in ceremonies, hearing chants, or glimpsing symbolic gestures can provoke profound spiritual experiences. These encounters often leave a lasting imprint, transforming ordinary lives into narratives of faith, purpose, and ethical alignment. The Ark thus functions on multiple levels: communal, national, spiritual, and personal, reinforcing the idea that sacred power is relational, experienced through interaction with both people and place. Moreover, the Ark shapes Ethiopia's international perception. Pilgrims and scholars visiting from abroad often describe the overwhelming reverence and solemnity surrounding the Ark, noting that it is not just a relic but a living, dynamic presence. Its influence extends beyond Ethiopia, inspiring curiosity, study, and admiration worldwide. The Ark becomes a bridge between cultures, a point of contact where history, faith, and human imagination converge. Ethnographers and historians have observed that the Ark's rituals and symbolism create continuity even amid change. Political upheavals, wars, and foreign influence have threatened cultural institutions, yet the Ark's presence provides a stabilizing force. Through centuries of turmoil, the sanctity of the Ark and its rituals has endured, preserving a sense of identity, unity, and purpose that transcends transient events. It is a testament to the enduring power of sacred objects to anchor civilizations, providing both spiritual and cultural resilience. Ultimately, the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia exemplifies the profound interplay between faith, ritual, and national identity. Its sacred presence is more than symbolic. It actively shapes behavior, social cohesion, and cultural memory. Through ritual, devotion, and collective reverence, it ensures that the story of the Ark continues to resonate across generations, binding people to their history, their spirituality, and their nation. As we transition into the next chapter, where the Ark's mysteries intersect with global fascination, myth-making, and modern reinterpretation, the enduring influence of ritual, faith, and identity provides essential context. It reminds us that the Ark's power is not only hidden within gold and wood, but alive in the hearts, minds, and traditions of those who revere it, creating a legacy that endures far beyond physical presence. The Ark of the Covenant has leaped from Ethiopian sanctuaries into the global imagination, inspiring fascination, speculation, and creative storytelling that spans continents and centuries. From scholarly inquiry to blockbuster films, novels, and documentaries, the Ark has become a symbol of mystery, power, and divine intrigue, captivating audiences far removed from its physical location. Its allure is universal, a tangible connection to the sacred, a puzzle of history, and a mirror reflecting human curiosity, ambition, and imagination. In the 20th century, the Ark entered mainstream popular culture in ways previously unimaginable. Stories of explorers, adventurers, and archaeologists seeking the relic inspired books and films that merged historical speculation with thrilling adventure. The narrative of hidden vaults, secret guardians, and divine power became fertile ground for writers and filmmakers eager to blend fact with fantasy. Audiences were drawn to the idea that a single object could shape history, influence fate, and carry secrets beyond human comprehension, making the Ark an enduring icon of suspense and wonder. Documentaries and television programs have reinforced the Ark's mystique, offering speculative analysis, reenactments, and expert commentary. These media often highlight its historical significance, the Ethiopian connection, and the enduring debates over its location and power. Through cinematic storytelling, the Ark is transformed from a distant relic into an active participant in human history, inspiring both awe and curiosity. Viewers are invited to step into the world of exploration, faith, and conspiracy, experiencing the tension between legend and historical investigation firsthand. Popular literature, too, has amplified the Ark's cultural footprint. Novels blend archaeology, theology, and thriller elements to imagine quests for the Ark, weaving narratives that are both educational and entertaining. Authors often draw from historical texts, oral traditions, and Ethiopian chronicles, crafting stories that balance authenticity with creative license. These narratives transform the Ark into a symbol of ultimate discovery, a prize that tests intellect, courage, and morality, mirroring the very qualities revered by those who have safeguarded it for centuries. The Ark's influence also extends into art and visual culture. Paintings, illustrations, and digital media depict its golden form, radiant aura, and ceremonial contexts, visualizing legends that were once solely oral or textual. These artistic representations capture imagination while preserving symbolic meaning, reinforcing the idea that the Ark is not only a historical artifact but also an enduring icon of human aspiration, divine connection, and mystery. Video games and interactive media have joined the ranks of popular culture, allowing players to simulate exploration, discovery, and even peril in pursuit of the Ark. These experiences amplify its mythic qualities, immersing participants in scenarios that blend history, legend, and imaginative adventure. The Ark, in this context, becomes a vessel through which modern audiences engage with ancient mysteries, testing creativity, problem-solving, and ethical decision-making in ways reminiscent of the quests of historical explorers. Scholarly engagement and popular fascination often intersect, with academic studies informing media narratives and vice versa. Researchers provide context, historical grounding, and interpretative frameworks, while films, books, and digital content amplify awareness, ensuring that interest in the Ark remains vibrant. This dynamic creates a feedback loop in which legend, history, and imagination continuously interact, expanding the Ark's significance beyond geographic and temporal boundaries. Interestingly, the global fascination with the Ark reveals more about human nature than the artifact itself. The desire to uncover secrets, solve ancient puzzles, and access divine knowledge resonates across cultures, religions, and generations. The Ark becomes a canvas for human ambition, imagination, and ethical reflection, inspiring questions about faith, morality, and the limits of human understanding. Each retelling or adaptation reinforces the timeless appeal of sacred mysteries and humanity's enduring need to connect with the divine. Despite its widespread depiction, the Ark retains its ultimate elusiveness. No matter how many films, books, or exhibitions explore it, the physical relic remains hidden, preserving its aura of power and sacredness. This tension, between omnipresence in imagination and invisibility in reality, heightens fascination, reminding audiences that the most compelling stories are often those that remain just out of reach, tantalizing and transformative. Ultimately, the Ark's presence in global popular culture illustrates its dual role. It is both a historical object and a symbol, rooted in sacred tradition yet alive in human imagination. Its legend transcends borders, connecting Ethiopia to the wider world, ancient history to modern creativity, and faith to exploration. The Ark continues to captivate, teaching lessons about devotion, curiosity, and the profound human desire to encounter the mysterious, the sacred, and the powerful. As we move into the next chapter, where myths, legends, and documented history intersect with theories of cosmic and spiritual influence, the Ark's global resonance sets the stage. It reminds us that some relics do not need to be seen to be powerful. They exist through belief, imagination, and the enduring narratives we construct around them. The legend of the Ark of the Covenant does not end at the borders of Ethiopia. Across the globe, myths, stories, and speculative accounts place the Ark in locations as diverse as hidden caves in the Middle East, secret vaults in Europe, and even remote corners of Africa. These tales often blend history, folklore, and imagination, reflecting humanity's fascination with an object that symbolizes divine power, ultimate knowledge, and the mysteries of faith. In the Middle East, some legends suggest that the Ark never left Jerusalem but was hidden within secret chambers beneath the Temple Mount. According to these stories, priests and custodians of ancient Israel devised complex traps, tunnels, and vaults to safeguard the Ark from invading forces. These subterranean legends evoke a city of hidden passageways, a labyrinth where sacred objects and historical knowledge are concealed from those unworthy. Explorers and historians alike debate the plausibility of these accounts, yet the very persistence of the stories underscores the Ark's enduring symbolic power. European myths also feature the Ark in unexpected ways. Medieval documents and travelers' tales hint at the possibility that the Ark was temporarily transported to secret abbeys, monasteries, or castles during times of war or religious upheaval. Knights, monks, and scholars were said to have participated in covert missions to protect or relocate the Ark, blending chivalric duty with spiritual devotion. These legends highlight the Ark's role not merely as a religious artifact but as a potent emblem of divine authority, capable of influencing both secular and sacred realms. Some legends venture even further, connecting the Ark to remote regions of Africa beyond Ethiopia. Oral traditions speak of hidden valleys, sacred mountains, and long-forgotten temples where fragments of the Ark, or objects imbued with its power, might have been concealed. These narratives suggest that the Ark's influence extends beyond a single nation or culture, becoming a global symbol of mystery, sanctity, and human aspiration. The Ark's journey, whether real or imagined, traverses both geography and the collective imagination. The Ark also features prominently in apocryphal texts and mystical writings. Some describe its powers as not merely protective or symbolic, but cosmic, capable of influencing natural phenomena, human fate, and even the spiritual balance of civilizations. While modern scholars treat these accounts cautiously, their persistence reveals how the Ark has inspired extraordinary interpretations. Across cultures, it is portrayed as an object that bridges the earthly and the divine, history and prophecy, material presence and spiritual resonance. Interestingly, many of these myths share common themes: concealment, protection, and selective revelation. Whether in Ethiopia, Jerusalem, or European folklore, the Ark is consistently portrayed as a force that is both powerful and guarded, visible only to those who are worthy or spiritually attuned. This consistency suggests a universal archetype, the sacred object that challenges human ambition, tests moral character, and inspires devotion across generations and cultures. The legends also reflect the human fascination with ultimate mystery. They reveal a desire to connect with something beyond the ordinary, something that embodies knowledge, power, and transcendence. The Ark becomes a canvas upon which cultures project hopes, fears, and ideals, transforming it from a historical object into a symbol of the divine and the unknowable. Its presence, or even the possibility of its presence, ignites imagination, shaping literature, art, and collective consciousness across centuries. Many myths include warnings or moral lessons, stories of misfortune befalling those who attempt to steal, misuse, or disrespect the Ark appear across regions and traditions. These narratives reinforce the sacredness of the relic while emphasizing ethical responsibility. The Ark, in myth and legend, is not merely a prize but a teacher, testing human intentions and shaping behavior through cautionary tales, visions, and extraordinary events. Legends beyond Ethiopia also intersect with exploration and adventure. Tales of secret maps, coded manuscripts, and hidden vaults inspire both professional and amateur seekers to investigate remote locations. These quests, real or imagined, form a modern mythology in themselves, continuing the Ark's influence across generations. Explorers recount mysterious signs, unusual artifacts, and encounters that echo centuries-old stories, suggesting that the Ark's legend actively shapes human experience even when its physical presence is unconfirmed. Ultimately, the Ark's global myths demonstrate its enduring relevance. They show that sacred power is not bound by geography. It exists in narrative, imagination, and collective memory. The Ark story extends beyond Ethiopia, touching cultures, histories, and spiritual traditions worldwide. Its legend is alive, evolving with each retelling, expedition, and interpretation, proving that the allure of the sacred transcends borders, time, and human understanding. As we transition into the next chapter, where the Ark's ultimate mysteries, potential revelations, and unresolved questions converge, the global legends provide crucial context. They remind us that the Ark's power is as much symbolic and spiritual as it is historical, and that humanity's fascination with this elusive relic continues to inspire wonder, devotion, and the relentless pursuit of understanding. The Ark of the Covenant continues to captivate historians, theologians, and enthusiasts alike, not only because of its mysterious disappearance, but also due to its enduring influence on religion, culture, and human imagination. Across centuries, Scholars have proposed theories regarding its location, its purpose, and even its supernatural powers. These theories range from the plausible to the fantastical, each reflecting humanity's enduring desire to comprehend an object that has shaped faith, identity, and history. One dominant theory suggests that the Ark remains in Ethiopia, preserved under strict guardianship within the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Aksum. Proponents cite Ethiopian chronicles, oral tradition, and ritual practices as evidence that the Ark has been carefully protected for millennia. The argument is compelling. The unbroken lineage of custodians, the elaborate ceremonies, and the cultural reverence all point to an artifact that is both physically and spiritually safeguarded. According to this view, the Ark's power lies not only in its material form but in the devotion of those who guard it, ensuring its presence endures against time and external threats. Alternative theories speculate that the Ark may have been hidden elsewhere, in secret vaults or subterranean chambers, perhaps even beyond Ethiopia. Some scholars explore biblical and historical accounts suggesting its concealment during times of invasion or political upheaval. Others propose that fragments or replicas were created to confuse potential thieves, making it nearly impossible to determine the Ark's true location. These ideas emphasize strategy, foresight, and the Ark's significance as both a religious and political instrument. Beyond its location, theories about the Ark's power abound. Ancient texts and mystical accounts describe it as capable of producing extraordinary phenomena, lightning, divine communication, or even protection against enemies. Modern interpretations vary widely. Some suggest that these descriptions are metaphorical, symbolizing the Ark's role as a conduit of faith and moral guidance. Others speculate on scientific explanations, proposing that its construction, materials, or contained objects may have produced unusual physical effects that inspired awe and reverence. Whatever the explanation, the Ark's legend persists because its influence transcends purely material evidence. Psychological and cultural theories also explore the Ark's enduring influence. It has inspired devotion, storytelling, and moral reflection, affecting generations long after its disappearance. The Ark functions as a symbol of ultimate authority, divine connection, and human aspiration. Its story encourages courage, humility, and ethical reflection, shaping both individual behavior and collective identity. By embodying ideals of faith and perseverance, the Ark demonstrates that sacred objects can exert power through narrative and belief as effectively as through physical presence. Some theories even suggest the Ark may have a cosmological or spiritual significance beyond human comprehension. Esoteric scholars propose that its alignment, materials, and sacred rituals create energetic or metaphysical effects that resonate with the cosmos. While such ideas cannot be empirically verified, they underscore the Ark's ability to inspire speculation that bridges faith, science, and philosophy. In this sense, the Ark becomes a nexus where human curiosity, spiritual longing, and intellectual inquiry converge. Historical analyses reveal that the Ark story has influenced political and religious institutions. In Ethiopia, it legitimized rulers as descendants of Solomon and stewards of divine covenant. In other regions, the belief in its power shaped cultural narratives, inspired military campaigns, and even fueled secret societies. The Ark's presence, or the mere possibility of it, has continuously molded human decision-making, demonstrating that sacred objects wield influence far beyond their physical form. Even in modern scholarship, debates persist over what the Ark truly represents. Is it a literal object of gold and wood, imbued with sacred power? Is it a symbol of divine covenant, meant to inspire faith and ethical conduct? Or is it a combination of both, a relic whose meaning evolves with each generation, each observer, and each act of devotion? The absence of definitive answers ensures that the Ark remains an enduring enigma, inspiring study, pilgrimage, and creative exploration across centuries. Moreover, the Ark's influence is visible in popular imagination. Films, novels, documentaries, and art continue to explore its mystery, drawing on historical accounts, folklore, and speculation. Each retelling amplifies its mythos, keeping the story alive in the collective consciousness. Whether approached as history, faith, or fiction. The Ark continues to inspire curiosity and reverence, bridging temporal, cultural, and geographic boundaries. Ultimately, the Ark's enduring influence demonstrates a central truth. Power is not solely physical. It is cultural, psychological, and spiritual. Through history, belief, ritual, and imagination, the Ark shapes human behavior, inspires devotion, and connects generations to ideals of courage, faith, and sacred responsibility. Its mysteries challenge humanity to consider not only what is possible, but also what it means to confront the divine, the sacred, and the unknown. As we transition to the penultimate chapter, where unresolved mysteries, ultimate revelations, and emotional resolutions converge, the Ark's enduring influence lays the foundation. It reminds us that the relic's significance lies not only in its physical presence, but in the way it inspires, teaches, and transforms those who engage with its story across centuries and civilizations. Even after millennia of study, exploration, and devotion, the Ark of the Covenant remains shrouded in mystery. Scholars, adventurers, and believers continue to confront questions that may never be answered. Where is it truly hidden? What is the extent of its power? Why does its legend persist with such intensity across centuries, cultures, and continents? These unresolved mysteries form the heart of the ultimate quest, drawing humanity into a timeless pursuit of knowledge, faith, and revelation. The Ark's disappearance itself is a puzzle layered in history and secrecy. Biblical accounts, Ethiopian chronicles, and medieval European manuscripts provide tantalizing glimpses, but none offer definitive answers. Some suggest the Ark was deliberately concealed during invasions, safeguarded in secret vaults or hidden chambers. Others argue it may have been transported across continents, protected by select custodians whose identities remain unknown. Each scenario reinforces the Ark's aura of invincibility and mystery, leaving even the most diligent researchers to navigate a maze of possibility, speculation, and partial evidence. Modern expeditions continue to fuel this ultimate quest. Teams of archaeologists, historians, and explorers scour ancient cities, remote landscapes, and religious sites in search of clues. They analyze manuscripts, inscriptions, and oral traditions, combining traditional scholarship with cutting-edge technology such as satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, and 3D mapping. Yet each discovery often raises more questions than answers. An unusual artifact, an unexplained inscription, or local legend that hints at hidden corridors or sacred chambers. The thrill of discovery is matched only by the frustration of the unknown, creating a tension that has defined the Ark's pursuit for centuries. Mystical and spiritual accounts add another layer to this quest. Pilgrims, priests, and seekers report experiences of vision, insight, or profound emotional connection linked to the Ark, even in its physical absence. These experiences suggest that the Ark's power is not confined to a tangible object, but extends into consciousness, culture, and faith. The ultimate quest, therefore, is as much an internal journey as an external one, a pursuit of understanding, devotion, and alignment with something greater than human comprehension. Unresolved mysteries also highlight the Ark's role as a symbol of human ambition, morality, and divine connection. The stories of those who sought it, explorers risking life and fortune, scholars debating endlessly, and communities safeguarding traditions, reveal the human fascination with the sacred and the unknown. The Ark becomes a mirror, reflecting human courage, greed, devotion, and ethical responsibility. Its legend challenges seekers to confront their own intentions, forcing them to reconcile curiosity with reverence, ambition with humility. The ultimate quest is compounded by contradictions in historical and cultural records. Ethiopian traditions, biblical texts, and European chronicles often diverge, providing alternative timelines, locations, and narratives. Some suggest multiple arcs were created to protect the original. Others imply that fragments or replicas were hidden to mislead potential seekers. These contradictions fuel intrigue and speculation, ensuring that no single theory can dominate. The Ark remains an open-ended mystery, inviting exploration, debate, and imagination across disciplines and generations. Even today, the Ark inspires quests that blend history, archaeology, and adventure. Researchers navigate political boundaries, natural obstacles, and religious sensitivities, all while attempting to respect local customs and sacred practices. The journey itself becomes symbolic. The challenges faced mirror the trials described in legend, from navigating treacherous terrain to gaining spiritual and ethical insight. Each step in the search is both literal and metaphorical, illustrating that the ultimate quest is as much about the seeker as the sought. The Ark's unresolved mysteries extend beyond geography into philosophy and theology. Scholars ask whether its power lies in its physical composition, in ritual, or in belief itself. Is the Ark a vessel of divine energy, a symbol of covenantal authority, or a catalyst for human imagination and ethical reflection? Each interpretation, while incomplete, adds depth to the quest, reinforcing the Ark's status as an object that transcends history, culture, and even human understanding. These mysteries are what ensure the Ark's relevance in modern times. Its legend is not merely historical. It is active, dynamic, and evolving. From Ethiopia to Europe, from scholarly debate to popular culture, the Ark continues to shape narratives, inspire devotion, and challenge seekers to consider the boundaries of knowledge, faith, and human potential. Its absence amplifies its presence, reminding humanity that some secrets are preserved precisely because they demand reflection, courage, and imagination. Ultimately, the unresolved mysteries and the ultimate quest for the Ark speak to a universal human desire to confront the unknown, to connect with the sacred, and to engage with a story that transcends time. The Ark's legend teaches that some treasures are not merely physical. They are intellectual, spiritual, and emotional. The pursuit itself, fraught with uncertainty, revelation, and awe, is a testament to the enduring power of mystery, faith, and human aspiration. As we move into the final chapter, where revelations, emotional resolution, and reflection converge, the ultimate quest sets the stage. It reminds us that the Ark's power lies not only in what may be found, but in what is sought, understanding, connection, and the courage to confront the sacred unknown. The story of the Ark of the Covenant culminates not with discovery, but with revelation of its enduring presence in human history, faith, and imagination. Though its physical form remains hidden, its influence permeates cultures, religions, and hearts across the globe. In the search for the Ark, humanity confronts more than a relic. It encounters the essence of devotion, the complexity of moral responsibility, and the relentless drive to seek the unknown. The Ark teaches that true revelation often lies not in possession, but in understanding, reflection, and the transformative journey of pursuit. As we step back from centuries of legend, history, and speculation, one truth emerges. The Ark's power is multidimensional. It is a historical artifact, yes, a golden chest whose origins connect directly to Solomon's temple. It is a spiritual vessel, revered for its divine association, capable of inspiring faith, awe, and mystical experiences. It is a symbol of human aspiration, reflecting courage, devotion, greed, and moral testing across generations. Its influence is both tangible and intangible, physical and metaphysical, shaping lives even when unseen. Modern reflections on the Ark reveal that its greatest legacy may lie in its ability to bridge time and space. Pilgrims in Ethiopia, scholars in Europe, explorers in deserts, and audiences of films and books all encounter the Ark in unique ways. For some, it is a touchstone of spiritual insight. For others, a catalyst for intellectual curiosity or imaginative adventure. Across centuries and continents, the Ark becomes a mirror, reflecting humanity's highest hopes and deepest fears, reminding us that sacred objects exist not merely in matter but in perception, memory, and devotion. The Ark's enduring legacy is also ethical. Throughout history, stories of guardianship, reverence, and divine retribution convey moral lessons. The Ark tests character as much as it preserves history. Those who approach it with humility, respect, and devotion are inspired. Those driven by greed or hubris meet warnings or misfortune. This enduring moral framework emphasizes that sacred objects demand responsibility, teaching that reverence is not passive but an active engagement with ethics, faith, and humanity's place in the divine order. Yet, the Ark's power is subtle. It is not about spectacle or material wealth, but about transformation. Mystical experiences, rituals, and legends all demonstrate that the Ark's influence reshapes perception, belief, and understanding. Individuals and communities are touched by its story, whether through visions, ethical reflection, or the act of preserving its legend. This subtlety ensures that the Ark's impact endures even when its physical presence is hidden, proving that power can be profound without being visible. The Ark also embodies the human capacity for imagination and myth-making. Its story continues to inspire literature, art, and popular culture, reinforcing its place in the collective consciousness. From films that envision daring expeditions to novels that imagine secret vaults, the Ark's legend transcends reality, teaching that the pursuit of sacred knowledge can be as transformative as the discovery itself. Through imagination, the Ark continues to shape human thought, bridging fact and fiction, history and legend, belief and inquiry. Reflection on the Ark encourages a deeper appreciation for history and culture. Its story reminds us that civilizations are built not only on material achievements, but on shared narratives, symbols, and values. Ethiopia's custodianship, the biblical accounts, and global fascination illustrate the Ark's role as a cultural anchor, connecting communities to their past and inspiring a sense of continuity and purpose. Even in absence, the Ark fosters identity, moral guidance, and collective memory, underscoring the profound significance of sacred heritage. Perhaps the most compelling revelation is that the Ark's mystery is itself a gift. Its elusiveness challenges humanity to seek, question, and contemplate, fostering curiosity, reverence, and imagination. The Ark compels us to confront our own limitations, inspiring humility before history, faith, and the divine. It teaches that some truths cannot be possessed. They must be experienced, pondered, and respected. In this way, the Ark remains eternally alive, a presence that transcends physical reality to shape thought, belief, and aspiration. As we conclude this journey, we recognize that the Ark's story is unfinished. Its physical location may remain unknown, and many mysteries may never be resolved. Yet its legacy endures, woven into rituals, stories, and the human quest for meaning. The Ark reminds us that history is not merely a record of events, but a living narrative, shaped by belief, interpretation, and imagination. Its absence is not emptiness, but an invitation to seek, to reflect, and to connect with something greater than ourselves. In contemplating the Ark, we are compelled to ask profound questions. What is sacred? How do we approach the unknown? What responsibilities do we bear when confronted with power, history, and divine legacy? These questions linger long after the search ends, ensuring that the Ark's influence extends far beyond any physical space, inspiring reflection, devotion, and wonder across generations. Ultimately, the Ark of the Covenant stands as a symbol of human aspiration and divine mystery, a relic that continues to inspire courage, faith, and imagination. Its story challenges us to honor the past, embrace ethical responsibility, and pursue the unknown with humility and devotion. And perhaps most poignantly, it asks us to consider, what if this secret, hidden for millennia, changes how we see history, belief, and ourselves? In its mystery, the Ark remains eternal, a beacon of wonder, faith, and the enduring quest for understanding.